you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
8:59, traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Auto loan rates as low as 4.74% APR. And we start with you, Cam.
Well, we're finishing up this morning rush with some pretty serious slowing if you're headed around Point of the Mountain. It's going to start just past Thanksgiving Point, and it's going to last until about 143rd South in Draper. Now, the rest of I-15 is looking pretty good if you're headed northbound. You might run into just a little bit of trouble as you get downtown, but nothing that's going to hold you up for more than a couple of seconds. Taking a look at the 201, it's going to be clean and clear as you come through Magna eastbound. A little tiny bit of slowing at 7200 west, but definitely lighter than we were seeing earlier. And on the Bangalore Highway, if you're headed south away from the 201 at 2700 south, we've got a little bit of slowing there. Otherwise, you should have no trouble where you're going if you're trying to get anywhere in the valley. Andy?
South 15, only a little bit of slowing right now in Rose Park, eastbound I-80. None going into the canyon, but only near Highway 40. Let Zero Res make your carpet new again. Call 866-ZERO-RES or go online to ZeroRes.com to schedule your appointment today.
It's going to be toasty today, 101 for a high. A little bit cooler tomorrow, 92 on Wednesday. Good chance of rain on Wednesday. Right now, it's 84 degrees downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Authorities have recovered the body of a missing swimmer in the waters of Tibble Fork Reservoir. The Utah County Sheriff's Office says they found the man's body after multiple hours of searching for him last night. They say he was in his 20s and he was with a group of people at the reservoir. Authorities are not releasing his name yet as they are still working to contact his family. A hiker died over the weekend after being struck by lightning. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The Salt Lake County Sheriff's Search and Rescue Team, along with the Department of Public Safety, attempted to track down the hiker just after noon on Saturday. The hiker and their hiking partner was found near the summit of the east peak of American Fork Twin Peaks. That's in Little Cottonwood Canyon. A storm made rescue efforts a little difficult, but crews were able to access and recover the hiker. Tragically, they did pass. Snowbird Ski Patrol helped the hiker's partner get down the mountain and to safety. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. It's not technically a precious metal, but the rising value of copper has made it a favorite target for thieves.
The value of copper has roughly doubled in the past year, thanks largely to the construction of data centers. With surging value comes increasing theft. So,
AT&T will be offering a reward of up to $20,000 for specific and detailed information that leads to the arrest and conviction of copper thieves.
Beyond the public awareness campaign and the posting of rewards, AT&T is replacing copper wire with fiber optic cables, one neighborhood at a time. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is in the negative, 165 points, down to 51,981. The Nasdaq's up 99 points to 25,620. Coming up, today should be the last day where we hit 100 for the next several days. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
It's always fun to shop at NPS. The other day, Dee and I went into NPS, but we went in with a mission. We were doing all kinds of fun things at this time of year with our grandkids and the family. We decided, okay, we've got to get to NPS. And we did, and we started picking up all the fun things. From the treats over in the grocery area, you can pick up your regular groceries there as well, but we were looking for treats for the grandkids, things that would be perfect for the road trip that we were taking down to St. George. We found so many fun things that the kids absolutely loved. Plus, we wanted them to have toys for the backyard, the sandbox, the pool, 20 to 70% savings each and every day at all 4 of their locations. But the cool thing is, and this is where the treasure hunt aspect comes into effect, they offer even more incredible savings on top of the already low price. They're in Orem, they're in Layton, and of course, in Salt Lake. NPS.
Pack a picnic, bring your friends, and meet us in Park City. It's time for the 2026 Deer Valley Music Festival, the summer home of the Utah Symphony. Hear joyful masterworks like Beethoven's Ninth Symphony in the Wasatch Mountains. Sing your heart out with iconic performers like Idina Menzel and Lyle Lovett. Relax with concerts under the stars and make new family traditions. Every concert is a chance to experience the best of the Utah Symphony in the beauty of Park City. Concerts will sell out. Get your tickets and plan your visit at DeerValleyMusicFestival.org.
She trusted a shop with her late husband's dream.
They agreed to give me regular updates of how things were progressing.
6 years and more than $16,000 later,
they stopped returning my calls.
So how far can a mechanic kick a can down the road? Is that a reasonable time frame?
Not really. Not on a normal job.
What every Utah driver should know before leaving a car at the shop. Stalled car repair. Tonight on KSL 5 News at 10.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Let's go to the traffic center. Cormac Bone.
It's just residual delays left over northbound I-15 around the point of the mountain up to Bangerter Highway. Then you really clear up all the way into Salt Lake. South 15 also no delays between Ogden and Salt Lake. We are still seeing eastbound delays on the I-80 between Kimball Junction and the US 40 turnoff, just in that right lane, a little bit lighter right now. Use Superior Water and Air for all your HVAC and water treatment needs. Call 974-9090 or visit SuperiorWaterandAir.com. Superior Water and Air, we got this. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather forecast today. We got partly cloudy, but we will still see some triple-digit temperatures. We could reach 101. There's also a chance of some mountain storms, and then temperatures start dropping to a high of 92 on Wednesday. Right now it's 84 degrees and partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Just seeing their family as a dynamic altogether was something that I'm like, I hope I have that with my future kids someday.
A heartbreaking weekend of deadly wild weather across the state. Flash flooding in central Utah suspected of killing 5 family members who were out camping, hiking, and rappelling near Bicknell. We'll have much more on this family and how loved ones are remembering them coming up at 9:35.
But yesterday, flooding from the same storm system forced water and mud down the mountain into the town of Beaver. Much of the debris coming from the Cottonwood fire burn scar. In fact, I think, Holly, that they closed I-15 for a mudslide for some period of time yesterday.
That's right. And KSL's Alex Cabrera is on the scene in Beaver. Alex, as the sun rises this morning, what's the damage looking like?
Yeah, this is where we're going to get a real good sense of just how much damage we're dealing with, Holly. There's flooding, massive flooding in so many parts of Beaver that city and county leaders still say they don't know the full extent of the damage just yet. The Grove area of Beaver, that remains closed because of evacuations, because of the amount of flooding that we're seeing here. How many homes were flooded? Last night, Beaver Mayor Matt Robinson told me it's still too many to count. That's what we're looking at right here. Some homes have minor flooding. Some homes have massive flooding. Though, again, those assessments are going to be happening this morning. But Greg and Holly, really the big priority right now is getting the city's culinary water system back online. They're asking people, residents, to not drink the tap water. The floodwaters got into the city water supply, even washed away some of the facility there, and they are working as quickly as possible to try and restore that so that people here can have some clean drinking water.
Alex, I had heard that parts of the highway had been closed for some period of time for mudslides. Has that been cleared up?
Yes, that was cleared up. In fact, I was trapped on Interstate I-15 coming from Salt Lake City and was stuck in traffic for a good hour and a half to 2 hours as you got closer to Beaver, Greg. And yes, that is open right now. I-15 in both directions doing just fine. UDOT was out there with just different plows, the county as well, trying to just scrape mud and debris off the interstate. It definitely caused quite a few delays, but I'm looking at I-15 right now, and it's wide open. Traffic no longer a problem in that area. But traffic in the middle of town and getting closer toward the mountain, you'll see some places where they're asking folks to divert, to find a detour to get around, just because the amount of mud in some of the places is still quite a bit out there.
Alex, do you know if everybody was able to evacuate safely?
Yes, that is something that Mayor Robinson told me that they are very thankful for, is that there were no injuries during the evacuation process, during the flooding. Nobody was hurt, nobody killed, anything like that. He says that he wanted to thank the residents, honestly, Holly, because, look, when you have somebody saying you need to leave now, sometimes people don't want to leave. But out here after the fire that they've been dealing with for the past month, people have a good sense of how important these evacuations are. Everything was orderly. People got out of there. And because of that, nobody was injured. And he's very thankful about that. One concern, though, we're going to get more rain today. That's in the forecast. That's something that Beaver County Emergency Manager Les Whitney says he's hoping as people maybe head back home or start getting back into the area today, they might be getting told again, you need to leave your homes again. And he's just hoping that everybody will follow those orders and just be patient, because they've had enough out here. As you know, we've had the Cottonwood fire burning for the past month, all the losses up there in Beaver Mountain. And whenever we see these massive wildfires, you get the floodings often afterwards, because all that vegetation burned, the water doesn't have anywhere to soak into, and it just runs down the mountain, which is exactly the result of what we're seeing here yesterday. And hopefully not as massive later today as what we saw yesterday, but it's what they're expecting.
Alex, I think like most of our listeners, I'm generally familiar with the county and the city. Can you tell us where the Grove area is in relation to the city?
Yeah, it's closer toward Beaver Mountain. It's definitely on the east side of town, a bunch of homes in that area. That's where they're focusing a lot of their efforts right now. That's where the closure is. That's where the evacuations have taken place, is the Grove area. Folks here in Beaver, they know where the Grove area is, but if you are on the outside trying to get into the now, you can't, simply because it's closed. The Beaver County Sheriff's Office have some checks and blocks out there too, because they didn't want any situations where there may be looters. So they're definitely making sure that anybody who's trying to get into that area should belong in that area. But with the evacuation still on the way right now, nobody should be in that area whatsoever.
Are they mostly residential dwellings, or are they these summer homes?
You know, that's a good question, and we don't know that right now. I'm hearing quite a few of them are people who live here full time. But as far as the summer homes, the assessments are still going to be done this morning. The city and county managers admitted that they don't know the full extent of the damage just yet, because it is massive. There was so widespread of a flooding area, a flooding zone, that they don't know the damage just yet. They don't know all the homes that were flooded. So if some of them were summer homes or second homes for someone, and maybe they haven't been home yet, they may not know that their home is flooded at this point.
Eric, one last question. Do you know if people went to a shelter, or they mostly go into family and friends outside the area? Do you know that?
Yeah, there is a Red Cross shelter that was set up here in town, and I'm told that a few families did go there and spend the night last night. The Red Cross told us that last night, that they had some families staying there. But a lot of folks here in town also have other family, friends in the area, and they just stayed with them. But yeah, that shelter was definitely used, Holly, last night by some people, and it will remain open as well for people to come in and have a place to stay if you need to. And also bottles of water. If anybody needed water, everything here is bottled water right now, because the culinary water system is shut down. And a lot of the gas stations, a lot of the small stores here, you try to go find bottled water, and from what I'm told, you can't get it right now. So that is something that you can get at the Red Cross shelter as well if you live in this area.
Maybe just a very, very quick follow-up, but what's the forecast like down there for now?
We chatted with Les Whitney about that, the Beaver County Emergency Manager, and he says they're expecting more rain later today.
Oh, boy.
Hopefully not as much rain as what they saw yesterday. Usually it's that first big rainfall, Greg, where you see the most amount of the flooding coming off of the burn scar. But this is something they're going to be dealing with for a while. And I think that's what gets everybody just like, okay, we got to get through this, because often with these burn scars with massive wildfires, this is something that communities deal with for years. You know, it takes 3-4 years to get some decent vegetation growing again to where maybe you can get some of that water to stay on the mountain. That's part of the mitigation efforts, too, that we see the state often doing. Part of what they do is not only fight the fires, but they try to mitigate the land to prevent the flooding afterwards. So this will definitely be a focus once some crews can get up in there and figure out what they're dealing with. And after these particular storms go away, to try to make it so that we don't see what we saw yesterday too often.
That's KSL TV's Alex Cabrero on the scene of flooding in the central Utah town of Beaver. And Holly, it was just a weekend of weather-related and recreation-related hazards. It was really a really sad weekend for a lot of people.
It really was. But it was it's concerning, too, about the forecast. So we're going to talk with our KSL weather team about the storm and continued threat of flooding facing areas of central and southern Utah today, coming up after the break.
Join me on the trip of a lifetime, an 8-day enchanting Rhine River cruise, August 7th through the 14th, 2027, so a year from August, aboard the elegant Amafiora, sailing from Basel, Switzerland to Amsterdam. We will cruise through the heart of Europe, past medieval castles, vineyard-covered hillsides, and storybook villages in France, Germany, and the Netherlands. And Morris Columbus Travel planned every single detail, so we just show up and enjoy ourselves. We're talking gourmet dining, licensed local guides at every port, a Morris Columbus tour manager right there on board, and exclusive pricing with savings of thousands off brochure rates. They've reserved just 50 cabins for our group, and I will be there for Q&A sessions and just to spend time together. This is a bucket list journey for me, and I hope you'll join me. Book in one click at morriscolumbus.com/KSL or call a Morris Columbus advisor at 800-999-4646. Optional pre-cruise Switzerland and post-cruise Amsterdam tours available too. Come see Europe with me. I can't wait.
Morris Columbus. Progressive presents the Museum of You.
We begin our tour with a unique piece, a relic from the early big screen television era. Remarkable. Next, we find a juicer, which historians believe has only ever been used once. And finally, compact discs from the emo era. A rare find indeed.
Some things should be history, but until then you could protect what's important to you and save by bundling your auto insurance with a renter's policy from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Is the volatility of the stock market driving you crazy? Is your retirement account sinking, yet you're getting older and you're starting to worry about, will I have enough for retirement? What about the money in the bank? These banks pay nothing these days. How do we get growth to get to retirement account? It's simple. Move into gold and silver. Want to know how to do it? Listen to my show, Striking Gold, with me, Kenny Michaels.
Now on Saturday at 5 p.m. You can't always predict what's next, but you can be ready for it in a BMW SUV. The X1 delivers on confident agility and a striking presence that stands out in a crowd. Or you can own the road in the versatile X3 with advanced driving technology like BMW Connected Drive and sporty design cues. The X5 blends performance and elegance with functionality and a commanding presence. And when only the biggest will do, the X7 steps things up with precision-crafted finishes and 3 rows of luxurious seating so there's always space, even for the biggest plans. Every model is engineered with BMW's intelligent all-wheel drive to give you the confidence in any driving condition. So while you can't always predict what's coming, for every road there's an X built to drive it. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Discover your dream vehicle at BMW of Murray or BMW of Pleasant Grove. BMW Utah. Drive elevated.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
I think my biggest challenge was getting through to him to understand that love is real and you have goals in mind, you have things that want to happen, and I want to help you get there.
Sometimes people tend to shy away from wanting to adopt teenagers because they feel like they've lost so much, but there's still so much to gain.
Just knowing that there's just that other person that cares and loves me out there, it feels great. And they've done so much for me, and I can only be appreciative every single day for just having them in my life.
I think it's been the best decision because I gained a son, and he's the best son ever. If I was down and out, he'd be there.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
The ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
A place where survival,
it's dark now, I have nothing,
is never certain. In 2011, an Australian hiker vanished.
Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
The mountains have decided to keep him.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts.
Inside Sources.
Well, the flooding risk in central and southern Utah continues today, and as we just heard from Alex Cabrero in the last segment, the flooding risk will continue probably for several years thanks to the massive burn scar that's left behind by that cottonwood fire. That was huge.
It was. And this weekend's deadly weather mainly dealt with flash flooding, but lightning also killed one hiker in the cottonwoods. So joining us now to talk about what happened this weekend and what we can expect over the next few days is KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson. Thanks, Matt, for coming in.
Yeah, of course. It's been a little wild.
The weather's sort of dominating the news right now with heat, rain, floods, whatnot. I mean, it's crazy right now.
Yeah, and we love to see the rain in the way of beneficial, incremental, lighter rainfall. But this flash flooding, unfortunately, is a byproduct of all this monsoon moisture that's kind of moved into the state.
We still have had zero rain in my area, by the way. So Can you tell us what's the difference between a flash flood warning and a watch?
Right, and yesterday we had a third tier, which is a flash flood emergency. So a flash flood watch is basically all the ingredients are in place for like heavy rainfall rates to happen that day. Usually that's a flash flood watch, and it usually covers a pretty expansive area because we don't know exactly where the storms will form, but if and or when they do, they're going to pack some heavy rain. Flash flooding possible. Flash flood warning means that flash flooding is either happening now or about to happen and is probably going to be threatening a city or a civilized area. Flash flood emergency, which is what yesterday was in Beaver, that is the third tier, highest tier of warning, and that is basically that life-threatening flooding and or catastrophic damage could and or will happen. So it was that upper level tier, and sure enough, it definitely did some damage.
Wow. Does the monsoonal moisture just bring a heavy amount in a short period of time? Is that why it creates these flash floods?
Yeah. So you have a ton of tropical moisture available in the form of water vapor. And then once you get these storms going, not all of them, but a lot of them pack some heavy rain simply because there's so much water vapor that can feed this thing that if you get a storm going, it's probably going to be really pack some heavy rainfall. Over the burn scar yesterday, we saw 1.59 inches of water on that burn scar in under an hour, maybe even under 30 minutes.
Wow.
It was fast.
So that water had nowhere to go. I mean, it was going to flood. It was going to cause problems no matter what.
Yep. When you drop that much rain in a short amount of time on 97,000 acres that have already been just freshly charred, and not to mention we kind of, in a way, greased the river a little bit, kind of primed things the 3 days prior to yesterday. I mean, you were probably seeing video coming out of minor flash flooding, and then boom, we had this big one, and it actually took out the diversion dam that's supposed to help mitigate some of the debris flow.
Wow. So down in Beaver, there's more rain in the forecast for today, I understand. But is it lighter? Is it less? Is it the same level now that you've already had that one, big dump?
Yeah, so we're gonna see pop-up scattered storms. Really, the concern this week is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday. The reason being is we'll probably still have the same amount of moisture available in the atmosphere. It's just that we're going to add some extra lift. There's just a small disturbance at upper levels that's going to glide through this monsoonal flow, and the mountains naturally provide lift. You need lift to get rain, but we're gonna add some extra lift from this little disturbance Tuesday, Wednesday, and so. The threat is still there today, but we're seeing a higher threat Tuesday, Wednesday.
Friday is the 24th of July.
Correct.
I'm sure you're aware of that. What do you think recreationalists have to look forward to for that weekend? I know it's a bit out, but do you think there's still a chance of heavy rains?
I think there's still going to be a chance for mountain thunderstorms. I think if you're headed to the parade, if you've got anything morning or midday in the valley, you should be fine. It's really that afternoon and evening thunderstorm chance, kind of what we have been seeing. Probably a carbon copy deal there on Friday, but I am seeing things kind of slowly dry as we head into the weekend. So we'll see how that trends. But right now, probably count on mountain storms.
Can you talk to us about flash flooding that maybe takes people unawares because there wasn't rain in the area they're at?
Yeah, I mean, a perfect example is I was looking at the rain gauge in town in Beaver. 0.32 is all they got. And that's a decent shower. But you go east of town, we'll call it 5 miles, and they picked up over 1.5 inches. And we're not talking about a ton of distance there, but that's kind of the danger with these, right, is all throughout southern and central Utah, you have these harmless-looking dry washes and slot canyons that have been carved out over thousands of years, right? But when they're dry, they're a beautiful thing to walk through and look at. But it can be raining upstream a couple of miles, absolutely pounding rain. But where you're at, it could even be sunny. And so that's part of the danger with these is when they put the flash flood watches out or, any advisories for Slot Canyon hiking or anything like that, you got to heed the warning because it can be very deceiving, especially since if you're in a canyon, right? You can't, distance-wise, you can only see what's above you because your horizontal view is blocked.
We discussed a phenomena that I had never been familiar with before, Matt, last week, and that was that the soil itself, after a severe burn, can actually have a change in its chemistry such that it is less porous. It's not what you'd expect to be. You think, boy, we're in the middle of a drought. The soil's just going to soak that up. But it actually gets kind of it almost sounds like a crystalline surface or something to it. You know what I mean?
Almost like somebody put a slurry seal.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of times that's a byproduct of when you burn vegetation. It can sometimes, when it burns, it's what's left over is almost like this material that can lay on top of the soil.
Oh, okay.
It's not everywhere, but it's out there, and it really prevents moisture from soaking in. But then you've also just burned off all the vegetation.
That can also hold the moisture. Yeah,
nothing is slowing that rainfall runoff as far as vegetation.
Can you talk to us about lightning danger? Because we know a hiker died this weekend after being struck by lightning.
Yeah, as far as lightning is concerned, you can get lightning strikes that will, they'll strike, but they'll kind of meander throughout the sky and then not hit the ground until miles away from the actual cloud base.
Wow. And
so that's kind of the danger with lightning is you might be hiking in an area and storms are a few miles away, but that lightning strike, they call them bolts from the blue because you can be hiking blue skies up above, but there's a storm close by. And I don't know if this is what happened,
right?
But it just goes to speak to how dangerous it can be. Just if storms are in the vicinity, their lightning can reach, miles outside of where the actual storm core is. So
I just want to stay in my house now.
Yeah.
Do we have more thunderstorms then also that could create lightning in the next few days?
Most definitely, especially in the mountaintops. And if you want to avoid the lightning this time of year, your best chance for hiking is going to be in the morning, that first half of the day, because usually your thunderstorms need that daytime heating from the sun to really get some lift, really get the storms going. So if you want to avoid it altogether, definitely go in the morning. But I do have a chance for mountain storms across the state almost every day this week. Now, valleys, that's a different story, as we experienced last week, right? I didn't get any rain. A lot of us skipped out on the rain. And so the best chance for valley rain chances, valley thunderstorm chances, is actually Tuesday and Wednesday. And it's all complementary, all because of that upper level disturbance I was talking about that might provide some extra lift. And that might just help carry these storms off the mountains and into the valley. Again, that's Tuesday, Wednesday, best chance for valley storms.
And then what about next week?
Holly's going to be
I'm camping.
asking for a friend here.
Oh, is that what's going on? Well, next week it does look generally drier. And when I say drier, I'm saying the atmosphere, we're not going to have as much subtropical moisture. There won't be as much thunderstorm threat, but I don't think it'll be at zero. So it's definitely something we're watching as far as trends into the next 7 to 14-day outlook.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks, Matt. That was KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson, who's always a friend of the show. You know, Holly, you're taking off next weekend. We've got the huge Pioneer Day weekend coming up, 3 or 4 days that people are going to be taking a lot of time out, and we've got this monsoonal moisture. It's just you hadn't realized or appreciated really what was going to happen in Beaver, but the townspeople said it's not a matter of
if but when.
Yeah,
they started preparing for flooding before the fire was even under control.
Yeah, and speaking of flash flooding, there was flash flooding in Wayne County. It's now suspected in the deaths of the 5 family members who were camping and hiking in that area. How locals are remembering this family when we come back.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour: the American Red Cross has set up emergency shelters for residents who need a place to sleep or who are just looking for fresh water. They've set up in Beaver High School, and Executive Director Benjamin Donner says they have snacks, bottled water, and cots set up.
For those that need a place to sleep overnight, we do have shelter supplies here, cots, etc., that we will be able to assist as long as we're needed.
Donner says the zone is operating as a safe space for anyone looking for information or who might just need a moment to think, and adds this event is a reminder to always have a 72-hour kit with a go bag ready in case of emergency. Utah Fire Watch crews have not given up, making lots of progress on Utah wildfires. The Stookie fire is now 40% contained, sitting at a total of 10,337 acres. The Buck Basin fire is almost fully contained at 96%. Sitting at 145 acres. And the Cottonwood fire, still a work in progress, but crews are very close to being done. Containment's at 90%. The fire almost reaching 100,000 acres. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A man has been arrested after police say he set off an incendiary device outside a federal building in Manhattan, New York. No injuries were reported. The FBI is investigating and will continue to monitor the situation for updates. Your money at this moment: the Dow down 96 points to 52,050. The NASDAQ up 178 points to 25,698. Coming up, today's going to be the hottest of the next 7, at least according to the forecast. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:31.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Don't face the IRS alone.
I was self-employed, and I got behind on my taxes. And then 1 year became 2 years and 3 years, and $116,535.47 to be exact. It just became overwhelming. Finally, I went to another tax company, and they were more interested in how good they were than helping me. I heard about Jordan and talking to the other people who'd done and been in the same situations that I was in, and their tax problems seemed just like mine. And so I went to Jordan, and it was amazing. They were able to negotiate it down to $5,200, and life became wonderful to me.
Don't face the IRS alone. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Visit endtaxworry.com to schedule your free consultation. That's endtaxworry.com.
I will be forever grateful.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS4KIDS to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to cars4kids.org now or call 877-CARS4KIDS to donate your car today.
1-877-CARS4KIDS. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877-CARS4KIDS.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to cars4kids.org. That's cars with a K.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Joe Fallon did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he commissioned a portrait of himself. Does Joe already know what he looks like? Yes. Do guests know what he looks like? Also yes. But not as art. It's Joe's savings, and if he wants to spend it on a velvet painting of himself with a white tiger at his feet, we say, roar, Joe, roar. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Learn how to save more this summer at uccu.com. Let's go back to Cormac Bone.
Our troubles are at the point of the mountain and in Utah County. We're seeing delays on southbound I-15 starting just after Bangerter Highway and reaching up past 146 South. And on northbound I-15 near 146 South, we are still seeing those emergency vehicles in the right shoulder, though they are driving away right now. So just watch out in the HOV lane if you're coming around the point of the mountain northbound. And then we do have this crash in Spanish Fork on northbound I-15 just before you get to the US 6 interchange. They are out of traffic and in the right shoulder, not causing any delays. This summer, earn 2 times the points on gas and groceries and 10,000 bonus points you can redeem for cashback, gift cards, and more. Visit cypresscu.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather. Today we're looking at a high of 101 degrees, but that's the hottest it's going to be for the next 7 days, at least according to the forecast. We're only going to get up to 97 tomorrow, and then it'll dip down to 92 degrees. Chances of rain, though, all this week. Right now it's 88 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So the news this weekend was just such a gut punch. A local businesswoman and entrepreneur, her Provo fire captain husband, and 3 of their 4 children were killed in flash flooding near Bicknell and Wayne County over the weekend.
Yeah, Katrina Long, her husband, Captain Spencer Long, and 3 of their 4 children died when floodwaters swept through the area near what they call Sun Glow Campground. The family had been spending the weekend down there camping, hiking, and rappelling.
So, Greg, you've spent time down in this area. Can you describe the campground and what the surrounding area is like?
Yeah, so this would have been just a beautiful place for this family to be. I mean, and the Sunglow Campground itself isn't in a really exposed area in terms of the floodwaters, but it seems like they were going into the hills to the east of that. So if you're driving on Highway 24 between Salina and Torrey, you'll pass through a number of towns, Loa, Lyman, and Bicknell. And Bicknell Campground is just to the east there. It's about 2 miles in. Beautiful campground. It's actually not far from where I crashed my bike in November where I fractured my pelvis. It was kind of heading into that area from my bicycle. It just a spectacular area. But when you get up into the hills toward the mountain, you can get into what they call a box or slot canyon. Yeah. It's narrow canyon walls. And when the water comes into that area, and it must have just caught them completely by surprise to think that they're up there hiking, and suddenly it just came down hard, I assume, because 5 out of the 5 passed away. So either they were trying to save one another, or who knows, we may never know exactly what happened. But the tragedy here is just unspeakable.
It really is. It really, really is. And there are, of course, several communities in mourning, remembering the deep family connections that made the Long family so special. So Sam Butler is the co-founder of Summit Medical Spa. She's a close friend to Katrina Gubler Long and spoke exclusively to KSL at a vigil for the family last night.
You know, Katrina, the type of woman that she was God first, family second. And the standards that she held, and the people that she came into contact with will forever remember her because of the woman that she chose to be day in and day out. And I am so grateful. For the opportunity to love her and to know her and to be on this journey with her. She and her family mean the world to me and so many other people. And I'm grateful every day for that.
Megan Dexter is an employee at Summit Medical Spa, quickly became one of Katrina's personal friends. She says that despite being a tough businesswoman, Katrina was always focused on her family.
She was either out at hockey working, like we've done meetings with her at hockey practice, or she's out hiking or at a haunted hotel sharing their stories, or across the country. It was never just do you have a weekend that you just stay home and do nothing? But it's just, she always was taking care of her boys. Like, her boys and Lydia were her number one priority. If they had something come up, it was, Sam, you guys have this. I have to go take care of my family.
So their daughter Lydia is she was working out of state. She lives in Kentucky and she's working as a nurse. So she's the lone survivor, and I can't even wrap my head around the amount of trauma and grief she must be going through.
Yeah, and apparently there is a Support Lydia fundraiser, GoFundMe account that has been set up. It's under Support Lydia After Tragic Loss GoFundMe account. I mean, and hopefully that there'll be at least some, good that will come out of this for that family, because I mean, nothing could be worse than to lose 5 family members in one short trip. And again, I can't reiterate enough how probably 10 minutes before, these people were having the time of their life. It was so beautiful down there. I mean, I can't even tell you how lovely that would have been, and how fun that would have been for that family. But boy, the storms come up and they hit you so fast, there's probably virtually no place for them to go.
So one of the things that I saw over the weekend is I started to see other fire departments around the valley start posting condolences. And I'm like, what is this? And then finally I saw something from the Provo Fire Department saying they'd lost their captain, Spencer Long, and a post by Provo Mayor Marcia Judkins. And then it was like, oh my gosh. And then I started to see the news stories, but just unbelievable, right? I had seen the news story that they had found one body, and then they had found 2 more, and then they went looking and they were able to find 2 more after that. I guess they realized, right, it was the family down there who was recreating. And I just, again, can't wrap my head around just the community trauma, but the trauma for their family. I read this morning some of Spencer's brothers talking about how he was such an outdoorsman, and how well matched he was with Lydia, and how adventurous and outgoing she was, and that they had made a power couple, really.
And the police and fire communities really gather round when one of theirs is lost or hurt. Mm-hmm. And because they all know, I mean, he was a captain with Provo City Fire, so he had a lot of experience. He had a lot of training. He probably saved lives. He'd probably done some incredible things. And so when somebody loses their own, the fire community, like law enforcement, does the same thing. They just rally, and no surprise there that a lot of them are expressing their condolences here for this family of 5 that were tragically lost in Wayne County.
This story made not only national news, but I saw it on the BBC today. So it made the Associated Press, and the Washington Post, and the New York Post. And I think just the idea that 5 family members died together, it's just really so tragic.
Yeah, and then you see the picture of the family. Of course, it was in some other setting, but beautiful, just a beautiful family. And so you learn so much about people. Apparently, what was her name? Katrina was just an outstanding woman, and her husband, a fire captain. I mean, these were the kind of people that that we love to have in our neighborhood, we love to have in our community, we love to have them helping us, and they're beautiful children, and then suddenly just swept away with something like this. Anyway, I'm sure that it was just moments between, pure joy and pure, trauma.
Their oldest son, Reed, had just returned from serving a church mission in December. So 7 months ago, maybe. And so we're there with their 2 younger boys who were around 12 or 13 years old. I think the boys were the younger boys. So Utah's a small world. And so my daughter last night, she came over for dinner, and she's like, Mom, one of my high school friends was besties with Lydia, who is the sole survivor, right? And my daughter went to American Fork High School, right? And one of my good friends in Utah politics is like, I knew Katrina really, really well. She served on the city council, which is something I learned from my friend. So just an utter tragedy.
And in a beautiful part of the state. I mean, that campground area and the hills behind it. It is my favorite mountain biking space, and it's a very private place for me. There, I like to go. People aren't there often. It's so beautiful. It's indescribably beautiful, and we'll all go there again. We just will. It's part of what we do.
Yeah. Well, the events of this weekend are shining a light really on volunteer search and rescue crews in rural parts of the state. So after the break, we're going to learn how some new funding could help support rural EMS crews and help bridge the medical care gap between urban and rural Utah. Stay with us.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from big wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Hey Utah, have you heard? Nuclear energy might be coming to our state. Now, before your brain jumps straight into sci-fi movies, let's talk about what nuclear actually does. Nuclear technology helps power our nation's submarines, supports life-saving cancer treatments, and produces reliable electricity for millions of homes. That said, nuclear power also comes with some common misconceptions. Don't worry, we get it. Here's a fun fact. You're exposed to more radiation eating bananas than you are living near a nuclear power plant. And get this, a lifetime supply of nuclear energy fits into a single soda can. Despite what some people believe, nuclear energy is safe, clean, and incredibly efficient. But don't just take my word for it. Energy decisions matter, and Utahns deserve the facts. Learn more about nuclear and what it can mean for you. Visit energy.utah.gov/nuclear.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Let me ask you a question. You have a best friend? How big would it shock you if somebody told you that your best friend just killed somebody?
911, what's your emergency? Someone on every line said they kidnapped my son and they're demanding $500,000.
I've asked myself so many times, what in the world happened?
Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And expanded Inside Sources.
Well, as rural Utah sees more and more visitors every year, and as Mother Nature takes her toll on the forms of fire and flooding, existing services in the area can be stretched pretty thin.
So a program within the Utah Department of Health and Human Services aims to provide more support, funding, and resources to ensure that these small communities that make up the heart of Utah are able to help both their own neighbors and the many visitors who frequent our great outdoors.
So let's talk about the Rural Health Transformation Program, and the director of that program, Chris-Ann Humphreys, is with us in studio. How are you this morning?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
So tell our listeners, and me, what that Rural Health Transformation Program is.
Yeah, so the Rural Health Transformation Program is really a historic $50 billion federal funding initiative designed to strengthen and stabilize healthcare systems across rural America. It was authorized under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, and it's overseen by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS. The program distributes funds to states over a 5-year period to redesign how rural care is delivered, financed, and sustained. In Utah, we were able to secure nearly $196 million in federal funding for our first year. If we show great results, Utah has a 5-year period for continued support to permanently change how rural healthcare works.
Wow. I want to ask first about rural EMS. So Greg has shared he had a bad bike accident last year. Of course, we know the sad weekend events that happened. Tell us what this might do for rural EMS.
Yeah, this is one of the programs that we're really, really excited about. We've partnered with the Department of Public Safety, and it's a much-needed injection of funds to address the severe strain on rural Utah's EMS system. You probably already know this, but most of rural Utah EMS is volunteer-based, which is really, really tough to sustain. With vast geographic distances, high volume of tourist rescues, and apparently maybe not tourist rescues.
Yeah.
And volunteer staffing really put a lot of strain on rural systems. So this program will receive more than $50 million over the next 5 years to modernize rural Utah's fragile healthcare ecosystem and really the goal is eliminate these dangerous ambulance deserts.
So can I just ask you a follow-up? What does that look like? Are we hoping to train more EMS volunteers, provide more ambulances?
Yes. So we're in the process of reviewing the project plan from the Department of Public Safety. But yes, there will be investments in equipment and some really exciting training equipment. So,
have you had a chance to start talking to some of the rural communities about what's already there and what can be built up? Because I know we're talking about this incident in Wayne County, which I think population-wise is one of the smallest counties in the state, maybe the country. And I know there's a I have a house down there, so I drive by a little thing that says EMS, but it's just a little building, and it's only staffed, like you say, probably with volunteers part-time. But can we expect there to be more of a presence there for our emergency responders?
Yeah, that's the goal. It's interesting you mentioned Wayne County. We were just there, myself, Commissioner Gruber, and our Executive Medical Director, Dr. Stacy Bank. We were just there on Friday visiting Wayne Community Health Center and meeting with some of the officials down there. And quite a few of the people that were working at the Community Health Center are volunteer EMS. So we did talk to them about what that looks like down there.
It seems like there also has to be, and I know you're probably, still in the early stages of this, ways to find people. I mean, ways to do location, and I don't even know how to articulate it. But I mean, I work on the ski patrol on the weekend, and we have things that we're now starting to utilize, like
if you have a hiker in trouble, is that what you're saying?
systems and drones and things like that. But I mean, people that get lost hiking and biking in those areas, I mean, it can sometimes be really, really hard to find.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I will tell you, I am not an expert on this technology, but when you hear the EMS director, Eric Bornemeyer, talk about the investments that they're looking at making with this money and the technology and the equipment, it's really exciting. And he's got a lot of passion for it, and we're really excited to partner with him.
Tell us about one of the other initiatives you're looking at funding.
Yeah, so we have quite a few. We have 24 key activities. But another one that we're really excited about, and there will be a press conference tomorrow, is our partnership with the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food. And this is actually really pretty unique across the country. Our commissioner and other leaders in the state, including legislators and the governor, really recognized that health isn't just about going to the doctor, right? It's about access to things like healthy food. So we're partnering with the Department of Agriculture to help us build up those supply chains and strengthen the logistics around food production and distribution. And so we're really excited about that.
Oh, this is much broader than I expected. So sort of assisting the what are currently some of the food banks in some of the rural communities in making sure that the populace has food, has resources, has things available.
Yeah, and it's really about your local farmers, but also about the distribution supply chain. I'm learning a lot about it. I don't know a lot about it, but it definitely needs support.
So one of the things that I know is that the bulk of the healthcare is really located along the Wasatch Front. What are some of people in rural Utah? What do they face if they need maybe specialized care?
Yeah, that's a great question. So sometimes, depending on where you live in the state and what type of care you need, you could have to travel 4 to 6 hours.
Wow.
And depending on what the conditions look like, we were just talking about this last week. Having grown up here, I'm pretty familiar with the landscape and some of the situations that we face. For example, canyon closures and things like that in the wintertime that can just make it even harder to get to where you need to be.
So these grants then, they're going to help alleviate some of those really long travel distances to get health care. Is that right?
Yeah, that's our goal. We have a lot of activities around that. We have quite a few around bolstering the workforce and helping train people who would be interested in staying in those rural communities, physicians, nurses, as well as telehealth. We have $25 million released just for this year alone for scalable telehealth activities to hopefully allow for those specialty care visits to happen while you are in your hometown.
And Chris, it looks like you sort of have to hit the ground with running here because there is some sort of review in a year or two to decide whether or not the funding will continue, and you obviously want to keep this going if it's working out. So you've jumped in with both feet, it sounds like.
Yep, we have some really, really tight timelines. We're working to get as much of the money out the door as we possibly can, as quickly as we possibly can. And yes, our partners at the federal government will be reviewing everything.
Right.
And we have to show outcomes. We have to show that we're meeting certain performance metrics and outcomes, and that is absolutely going to be our focus.
Rural communities supportive so far?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because a lot of them kind of run their own thing, and
Yeah.
you would expect, hey, wait a minute. But I'm sure that they would love the handout no matter what.
Yeah, and we definitely want the money to go deep into the communities.
Mm-hmm.
We're not looking to have it stay up here at the state level or
Right.
at some sort of middleman. But I will say, too, that that as we work towards this, part of the reason I wanted to be here was we want people to know what's going on.
So we only have about 30 seconds left, but what can people do if they want to find out more information about the programs that you're just starting?
Yeah, please, if you Google Utah Rural Health Transformation Program, we will be either the first or second website that pops up. There's a lot of information, including about the funding opportunities that are currently open, and there are quite a few of them. So we also have an email inbox for questions, and you can find that email address on the website.
Wonderful.
All right.
That was Chris Ann Humphreys, Rural Health Transformation Program Director at the Utah Department of Health and Human Services.
Thanks
you
for joining
so much
us.
for joining us and being here in
Thank you.
person.
And look, our listeners can join Brightside tomorrow from noon to 3 for a special edition of their show where they're going to go in depth on how rural communities deal with an increase in search and rescue operations.
And in the next hour on Inside Sources, renewed efforts to pull back on mail-in voting by Utah Senator Mike Lee. We'll get the details after this.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Today we could find out the fate of fireworks over the Pioneer Day holiday.
The state has been reevaluating wildfire conditions since the July 4th ban. That executive order from the governor granted the state forester the power to ban fireworks over the Pioneer Day weekend if conditions don't get better. Some cities are already calling the shots, saying they're ready for personal fireworks. That includes St. George and Clinton, where fire officials say they're good to go. Fireworks are already on sale, and state law says the first day to legally light them would be Wednesday. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A new study out today about coffee and heart health. The American Heart Association says for most healthy adults, 400 milligrams of caffeine a day is considered safe and could help reduce heart disease. But ABC's Stephanie Ramos says there are some cautions.
High doses of caffeine, especially from energy drinks and energy shots, have been linked to higher blood pressure and abnormal heart rhythms.
Researchers say adding sugary syrups or heavy cream and other add-ins may chip away at some of coffee's potential health benefits. 2 new movie productions will be filmed in Utah after being approved for state film incentives. The Utah Film Commission says both productions will begin filming this summer across Utah, Salt Lake, and San Pete counties, and they should generate an estimated $250,000 in economic impact. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 109 points to 52,036. The NASDAQ, though, up 204 points to 25,728. Coming up, we're going to break triple digits again today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Don't face the IRS alone.
I was self-employed, and I got behind on my taxes. And then 1 year became 2 years and 3 years, and $116,535.47 to be exact. It just became overwhelming. Finally, I went to another tax company, and they were more interested in how good they were than helping me. I heard about Jordan and talking to the other people who'd done and been in the same situations that I was in, and their tax problems seemed just like mine. And so I went to Jordan, and it was amazing. They were able to negotiate it down to $5,200, and life became wonderful to me.
Don't face the IRS alone. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Visit endtaxworry.com to schedule your free consultation. That's endtaxworry.com.
I will be forever grateful.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
Really ugly clouds coming over from the north.
A place.
The ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
Where survival.
It's dark now. I have nothing.
Is never certain.
This is not good.
My name's Dave Cawley, and I'm the host of a podcast called Uinta Triangle. It's about the disappearance of an Australian hiker named Eric.
Our conclusion, and that of the sheriff, is that the mountains have decided to keep him.
Come retrace Eric's footprints with me.
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
He is not the first or last person to vanish in this remote region.
It was haunting to see the photos. I mean, really.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle. That's Uinta, spelled U-I-N-T-A, Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts. All episodes out now.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Auto loan rates as low as 4.74% APR. Here's Cormac Bone.
The crashes that we had on I-15 in Spanish Fork and at the Point of the Mountain have both cleared off the road, so I-15 running without delay or accident between Ogden and Provo. It's just normal delays to expect in Lehigh, eastbound 2100 North and Pioneer Crossing, both pretty heavy as you try to get onto I-15. And in Weber County, a little bit of congestion on southbound Highway 89 approaching the mouth of Weber Canyon. At UTA, it's never just a ride from point A to point B. We move independence, we move purpose, we move memories, we move what matters. You plan your trip at rideuta.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, a high today of 101 in Salt Lake City with some more mountain thunderstorms and a small chance some of those storms could reach the valleys. We have better chances for rain tomorrow and Wednesday in the valleys. Right now, it is 88 degrees and partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Despite what years of experience and evidence has shown us, Senator Mike Lee is going after mail-in voting, the very system that got him elected and that got President Trump voted for 3 times in the state of Utah. But Senator Lee says, quote, it should not survive much longer.
Yeah, and this falls on the heels, Holly, of the president's remarks last week talking about wanting to get Congress to pass the Save America Act. Mike Lee did post, as you said, this on X, mail-in voting, other than for deployed military personnel and others physically cannot vote in person, should not survive much longer, like you said. And he's laser focused on helping the president pass this agenda. But as we've talked before, may not have the votes, may not have the support that he needs to get this passed.
So joining us now is Deseret News congressional correspondent Cami Mondo. Cami, thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So, look, I'm seeing that the president is making another push. It's very similar to what Senator Lee said. No corrupt mail-in ballots, he posted on Truth Social this morning. And they're trying to tie this Save America Act to a budget resolution. Is that what you're hearing in D.C. as well?
Yes, it would be portions of that Save America Act. Not all of it can be attached to the budget resolution because of the strict rules that reconciliation process follows. You have to make it related to tax and budgetary to get around that filibuster. If you put in those other policies, it would be the 60 votes, which is what we've seen is why they can't get it through right now. So they're going to try and, push through in a way to have like grants and incentives for states that implement these policies as a way to try to get around those budgetary rules.
Cammie, in light of the president's remarks last week and Senator Lee's most recent remarks, is the needle moving at all with Congress, or do you think that it's getting any closer to where they'll even have a vote?
I think what you're seeing is just the same people who've been pushing this for months and months are digging their heels in deeper, and those who are a little bit more realistic, knowing that this doesn't have the pathway forward right now, are standing firm. I don't think we're going to see much movement, especially because, the House goes home after this week for the August recess. The Senate will follow after next week, and they'll be gone until September. So I don't think that we're actually going to see much movement.
So I'm seeing an editorial by Senator Murkowski. She's posting in the Wall Street Journal why she's not voting, why she's voting against the Save America Act. But she says, as written, the Save America Act isn't a simple fix to safeguard elections. It would impose costly new barriers and prevent some, perhaps many, from voting while creating chaos before the November elections. And one of the things that I've seen a lot online is people are saying this is a quote, simple bill that would just require voter ID, but it's a lot broader than that, isn't it?
Right. The initial version that Senator Lee had introduced about a year and a half ago, that was just related to voter ID, but it's expanded far beyond that since then. Now it has these photo ID requirements, and Murkowski has been one of those leading opposition to some of these provisions that they've tried to attach later on, especially because she knows that, Alaska is a big state. You have a lot of rural voters who would have to travel several hours to these election offices just to prove that they can vote in these elections. That's where you're going to get a lot of Republicans who disagree with scaling back mail-in ballots, because a lot of these rural voters don't have places to go, and then that would disenfranchise them is their concern. And so, yeah, the original bill was just voter ID, but now you've gotten it to where they want to tack on so many different provisions that it starts to lose even Republican support.
And Cammie, this Save America Act just doesn't seem to be going away. The president has pushed it through his agenda. He's pushing it again. Senator Lee is right lockstep with him. Is there anything? And if they're taking a break here in a week or two, first of all, even if it passes, it's not likely to make any difference in midterm elections in November, is it? And even then, it's probably not likely to have any traction between now and November, is it? Even to be passed.
Correct. I was speaking to Senator Lee just last week, asking that same question, because there is, federal law that states that you have to make these changes 90 days before an election for it to actually take place. And again, even that is kind of a stretch. These states need time to put these policies into place. And so when I asked Senator Lee about that, he basically, acknowledged that there might not be enough time to put this in before the midterms, but he's not going to let up on pushing for this legislation. He's not going to let it go. He's saying that, for future elections, we still need election integrity. Vice President Vance, when he was on the Hill, said the same thing, where he said this isn't necessarily an immediate return that we're trying to see, but we want to see it for future elections. So it's likely we will not see this go anywhere.
So I'm seeing Thomas Massie, who has just continued, I think, to be a thorn in the side of the president. He's Republican, by the way. But he posted this just a couple of hours ago, or reposted, the SAVE Act fight is fake. It's designed to make you furious. There's no plan to pass it. Republican politicians are playing you. And then he says it's designed to distract you from increased debt, war, inflation, and further usurpation of your rights. I mean, some of the Republicans who are opposed to it are really opposed.
Right, and there is some concern from some Republicans who say that this is also just an effort to try and distract from the other issues that may cause Republicans to lose in November. And I think that's what Massie is getting at. Massie's been arguing for cutting the deficit. He's been voting against a lot of legislation that he thinks is too expensive, that he says could cause Republicans to lose the House or Senate in November. And, some Republicans, such as Massie, think that they're moving the Save America Act, that if it doesn't pass, they can use that as the reason why they're losing instead of actual policy stances.
Cammie, let me just pivot if I could for a minute and maybe catch you off guard. Hopefully not. But is there anything going on as it relates to the war in Iran? That is to say, whether or not there's going to be support or the withdrawal of support or anything like that with Congress in terms of reeling in the efforts of the military right now?
I think right now they're still watching to see what happens. Of course, when Trump redeclared war, but informed senators and lawmakers that the war had restarted, especially with the deaths of some service members this weekend, you may start to see some shifting support on that. I caught up with Senator Curtis last week, who said he's kind of looking at it to see in terms of funding. Obviously, Congress is going to try and put some military funding on the floor, but he's going to make clear that he's not going to support anything that's beyond the 60, 90-day legal window that we've talked about. And so I think this week, maybe next week, you might see some faltering support. Of course, lawmakers are going to be leaving town, so there might not be enough time to actually do something. But then that, of course, will play into when they're on the campaign trail. I'm sure voters are going to have a lot of questions about it.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, as always, Cammie Mondo, Deseret News congressional correspondent.
And not only do they have their summer breaks, but they've got their time to
then they have to campaign.
Right, yeah, that's not that far away anymore.
Look, it's interesting that this bill that seems to have been DOA, dead on arrival, for a long time, it just doesn't quite, maybe we should call it the zombie bill. It just doesn't quite go away.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't have the votes. It doesn't have the support.
And Mike Lee, bless his heart. He is really championing this. He really wants to make it roll.
He wants to do away with mail-in voting, which is how he got elected. So I can't wrap my head around why he wants to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's part of the president's agenda, and I think he's supportive of the president, notwithstanding.
Yeah, true. You had just mentioned Iran, by the way. And so up next on Inside Sources, 3 U.S. service members were killed this weekend in Middle Eastern conflicts. The Washington Post says we're now teetering on the edge of all-out war. More on this after the break.
Amanda, every business needs IT help. And sometimes you've got that guy who already works for your company who knows how to do this stuff. But sometimes you don't. Or the guy who knows the IT stuff, that's not his actual job.
Right. So Les Olson IT they can be your 24/7 help desk. They can support your existing help desk. They can do advanced cybersecurity protection. Maybe just come and take a look. Are you subject to phishing or ransomware or other things? What are the cyber threats you're facing?
And you've got to make sure that your data is secure. So both cloud and data backup solutions, they can help you with that. Plus, everybody's got to use a computer. That's where hardware comes in, infrastructure support. You don't have to know all this stuff because Les Olson IT knows it.
And most of the time, they can help you fix whatever's going wrong remotely, just off your computer. Plus, of course, they have copiers and printers. They always will at the very best price.
Les Olson IT is your trusted local IT partner. They've been in business for 70 years, and they've got 9 locations from Logan to Las Vegas.
Find out more at lesolson.com.
Ever miss a segment of Inside Sources, or you want to go rehear a conversation that you particularly liked? Well, subscribe to the Inside Sources podcast. We upload each segment and the full show every weekday afternoon. Just go to kslpodcast.com or follow us wherever you get your podcasts.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-330-8323 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-330-8323. That's 800-330-8323. What do you have to lose? Call 800-330-8323. Again, 800-330-8323.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
We're not adults, so just be there and listen. I just want someone to yap to. And I just feel like I'll be fine if someone just hears me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
You're doing a really good job. And I don't think I tell you that enough. And I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us. But, try to understand me more and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a gripping new 9-part investigative podcast about a serial killer you've probably never heard of, Warren Forrest, a sadistic predator who prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He hid behind the deeds of Ted Bundy, and he's only been convicted of 2 murders, but is suspected of many more. Since the release of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a witness identified in the podcast could lead investigators to the remains of Jamie Grissom.
He ran into the woods. He said he stumbled. As he fell down, he looks up and sees the body of a young woman.
And now the FBI is testing forensic evidence that had been collecting dust for decades. This cold case is now red hot. Binge the entire season of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley right now, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the latest breaking news.
And expanded Inside Sources.
The conflict in Iran, is it teetering now to an all-out war? The Washington Post sure thinks so. That you look at their headline this morning, and they're saying we're closer to an all-out war over the weekend.
So, look, this thing has been dragging on, and Cammie mentioned the 60 to 90 days where the president needs to get authorization from Congress. We're way past that.
Yeah.
Way past that. And now 3 more American service members are dead.
Yeah, and we hear more and more about this. It's been on again, off again. It's very much on again, maybe even more than ever before. The United States did launch a new round of airstrikes targeting Iran after the death of another American service member. I actually think there were 3 killed over the weekend.
That's right.
News Nation Washington correspondent Corey Smith has the details.
The total number of U.S. personnel lost in this conflict potentially rising to 18 as the U.S. and Iran inch closer to a return to all-out war. So on Friday, 2 service members were killed when Iran targeted a U.S. military base in Jordan. The Pentagon is working to identify another set of remains found there. Meanwhile, Central Command says on Saturday, a U.S. service member was killed in northern Iraq during the controlled detonation of an explosive attached to an Iranian's drone. This has been the deadliest period for U.S. personnel since March. The president weighing in on Sunday after returning from the FIFA World Cup final.
Well, we feel very badly, but those great people, those great patriots were out there fighting that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. But we hit them very hard again tonight, and we did that in honor of the probably 3. It's probably 3 as opposed to 2 great patriots.
The Central Command is expanding its target list beyond Iran's coastal surveillance and air defenses near the Strait of Hormuz, striking energy infrastructure, port facilities, and bridges.
So Iran has responded to the latest attack by targeting Bahrain, which is the home of the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet. And I think if I understand Corey Smith correctly, there could be 4, right? So an unidentified body, they haven't identified it yet, in Jordan, where the other 2 victims were found. And then there was another one, I think, in Iraq. So there could be 4 troops that were killed this weekend.
Yeah, I think we entered the weekend with 15 U.S. service members dead. We're up to 18, perhaps 19. And whenever there's an attack on a U.S. military base in one of the countries neighboring Iran, and the U.S. just goes ballistic against Iran. And so we're hearing today that Iran is saying they are willing to continue negotiations, but it seems like we have taken a huge step or two or three back from where we were just 2 weeks ago when we had this so-called ceasefire in place.
Well, we know that the memorandum of understanding is no longer in force. It's over. It's done. Iran is targeting different places in the Middle East, right? And one of the things I saw over the weekend were several people commenting is like, how are they able to hit these places? I thought that we had already decimated their weapons stash.
Well, they're drones. I mean, we decimated their nuclear capabilities, but the drones, and they're purchasing them from, I don't know, China or Russia or whatever, but they seem to have a fairly big arsenal of those. And the U.S. military and these other bases have done a masterful job of stopping the drones, but you can't stop
all of them.
10 out of 10.
So one of the things, too, is that the U.S. is lower on its stash of missiles and weapons. And in fact, one of the articles that I read this weekend said that they were under 50% capacity for the number that we have. And the person who was talking to the reporter is like, I'm not sure the White House knows that. Like, there's a finite number.
Yeah, and when you talk about all-out war, you kind of wonder what that means. I mean, if you say to the administration, Hegseth and Trump, okay, we're no longer skirmishing, we're at an all-out war, does that mean we hit them even harder? I mean,
does that mean we do a draft? Does that mean we put boots on the ground and not just from the air?
Right, and does that mean Congress has to weigh in and fund something?
So one of the other things that I've seen, it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. So the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, wants to be called the Secretary of War, and some people are saying, well, he should just be known as the Secretary of Endless War now.
Yeah, right.
Because, look, this was supposed to be a 4 or 5 day operation. Remember when the president first started this in February? It's supposed to last 4 or 5 days, and here we are, I don't know, what is that,
months.
Months later. Yeah.
Well, now we're talking about travel warnings for U.S. citizens. Rising concerns over the threat of an all-out war between Iran and the U.S. is prompting the State Department to issue a warning to Americans living and traveling abroad. Here's News Nation's Brooke Schaefer, who explains.
The State Department is renewing its warning to Americans worldwide to be increasingly cautious after this weekend's developments in the Middle East. The agency warns of heightened tensions, saying that groups supportive of Iran may target Americans around the world, adding the security environment remains complex with the potential for unforeseen escalation. The U.S. Embassy in Amman this weekend also warned Americans in Jordan to avoid military bases and the airport, which U.S. officials said was evacuated Sunday because of a credible threat. Jordanian authorities denied that. Still, Americans in the Middle East are especially in the Middle East region, we should say, are being told to be careful, avoid demonstrations and large gatherings, and keep a low profile.
It's probably just a tough time for the State Department to advise Americans.
Well, I'm wondering, why are you even going there?
Anywhere, right? Yeah, there are certain places you just don't want to go right now, at least if you're wearing your American flag T-shirt.
Even if you're not, I promise we stand out.
Right, yeah, right.
Americans who travel, we stand out. So, yeah, be careful if you go there, but why would you go there right now?
Yeah, it seems like a bad time to travel, and There are places, maybe even most of Europe right now is probably not too tickled with America. So I don't know where you'd go right now to travel. I mean, certainly there are safe countries in Europe, and I don't mean to downplay that. But just traveling as an American right now could be hazardous because you never know what cells are there, what terrorist groups are there, and they're going to be targeting Americans. Let's face it.
So we have another player that's kind of entered the war, and that is Yemen's Iranian-aligned Houthis. They said they're imposing a naval blockade on Saudi Arabia, which opens a new front against the United States in its war on Iran. And it threatens additional threats to the world's oil supply.
A naval blockade at the Strait of Hormuz, or just against
against Saudi,
nation altogether?
Against the Saudi Arabians. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you have all of this happening, but we still want to talk, Really?
Well, it's getting to more and more of it to be a global conflict. I mean,
it is global for sure.
It's been global before. Israeli, Lebanon, U.S., Iran. It gets bigger and bigger, and we've got bases all over the place, and they're getting hit by the Iranians, and so they're not happy. They're taking out their frustration on Iran, and I mean now other groups are joining Iran, and you wonder at one point does NATO step up to the plate? Does Russia jump in? And
I think Russia's
Iran?
in. They may not be in
Behind
openly.
the scenes?
Yeah.
They're supplying Iran with.
Yeah, probably so.
Does China do anything, or do they just sit back?
They're probably supplying also, is kind of what we hear. Look, you asked about the Houthis. They're closing a route through the Red Sea. So Saudi Arabia had diverted millions of barrels of oil per day to an export terminal on the Red Sea, and now they're like, nope, not doing that. So now they can't get through the Red Sea. They can't get through the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, and the U.S. military can only do so much in terms of ushering people through some of these areas. But I thought at one point that's what we'd end up doing. But you can't just have a U.S. battleship following every tanker.
Well, and there have been tankers fired on. I think yesterday there was one that was on fire. Maybe not a tanker, but there was a ship that was on fire because they were trying to navigate the strait and make a run for it, and it did not work out.
Well, maybe Congress needs to just step to the fore and say, hey, let's figure out what we're doing here and cut off funding or
you mean do their job?
Yeah, right. Well, never mind. They've got some time before they leave for this summer.
Yeah,
we'll
a week.
See. Yeah.
4 days.
Well, coming up for us on Inside Sources, let's turn to artificial intelligence. And some of the biggest winners in an AI economy say they're worried about the future. Plus, what's Utah doing to keep humans first in the AI world? We'll talk about these stories when we come back.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Beaver residents are now working to clean up what was left behind by flooding caused by rain falling on the Cottonwood Fire burn scar. Beaver City Mayor Matt Robinson says several properties have been flooded and the city's culinary water supply has been compromised. He says it's unlike anything he's seen before.
It's incredible. I would never wish this on anyone.
City leaders are also urging people to be ready to evacuate in case they see more flooding, which is very possible with more rain in the forecast this week. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Pentagon has identified 2 U.S. service members killed in the Middle East. The Defense Department says Private Isabella Gonzalez and First Lieutenant Tyler James Fian died in an Iranian strike in Jordan. Here's ABC's Karen Travers.
CENTCOM had said over the weekend that the strikes at Iran are aimed at degrading their ability to go after commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Of course, that's been the big focus over these last 2 weeks, trying to limit Iran's ability to strike at those ships. But every time the United States has launched one of those strikes, Iran has hit back at U.S. assets in the region, as we saw over the weekend with the deaths of these service members.
Another service member also died during a controlled detonation of an Iranian drone in Iraq. Your money at this moment, the Dow down 110 points to 52,035, while the NASDAQ and S&P are both up. The NASDAQ 219 points to 25,740, and the S&P up 31 points to 7490. Coming up, temperature cranks up today, and it sort of cools off-ish. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Let's face it, it's time to give your finances a serious glow up. Hi, I'm Susan Spears, a certified public accountant and host of the all-new podcast, Talk to Your CPA. Think of this as your ultimate money guide, packed with actionable tips for every stage of life. Starting a family, college, a business, retirement. We'll cover it all and call on a deep bench of money experts to share their best strategies. And when I switch into CPA mode, we'll cut through the jargon to uncover hidden tax breaks or financial nuggets that might work for you. like special deductions for tax earners, tax wins at age 65, and benefits when you buy a new car, or just how to stretch your dollar. The first episode drops soon, so subscribe to Talk to Your CPA on your favorite podcast platform today. Because true financial freedom isn't about ditching your daily latte. It's about uncovering hidden hacks to launch a financial glow-up that keeps on glowing.
Talk to Your CPA is proudly powered by the Utah Association of CPAs.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-822-1490. That's 800-822-1490. 800-822-1490.
Aloha. How do I look?
Hey, why are you wearing a Hawaiian shirt, flip-flops, and carrying a pineapple?
Because I feel like I'm on vacation.
You know, you don't have to dress like you're on vacation to feel like you're on vacation.
Oh, I don't?
Nope, just move into an Ovation home.
Okay, so you're saying I can retire the Hawaiian shirt?
Maybe, but to keep it for Fridays. Why leave for vacation when home already feels this good?
Seriously.
Ovation Homes gives you the freedom to enjoy life without the constant chores and upkeep.
Huh.
More time for travel, hobbies, friends, family, and all the things you love most. Visit Ovation Homes at Seboya Farms in West Layton, just off Gentile. Tour award-winning home designs, enjoy resort-style amenities, and discover a lifestyle built around freedom and convenience.
Oh, yeah, that's my kind of paradise.
Ovation Homes. Less maintenance, more living, more freedom. Visit OvationHomesUtah.com today. OvationHomesUtah.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Let's go to the traffic center. McKenna Rodriguez.
We're looking at a crash on I-15 before 7200 South. The vehicle is pulled over on the left shoulder there and out of traffic, so we're looking at no delays. And a crash in Parley's Canyon on the ramp from westbound I-80 to I-215, causing some delays getting out of the canyon. McKenna Rodriguez in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL Weather Center says it could hit 101 today in Salt Lake City. There will be thunderstorms around the state, but the Wasatch Front will see their best chance for rain Tuesday and Wednesday. Right now, it's partly cloudy and 90 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So portions of the tech industry may be in a little bit of a panic thanks to artificial intelligence. And you might be thinking, well, duh, they brought it on themselves. But they're feeling pretty blindsided, some of these workers.
Yeah, and either way, some of the biggest winners in the economy, those working on tech and AI, say we may be in for a bit of reckoning right now.
So I saw an article in the Washington Post this morning that the headline is the biggest winners of the American economy fear they're sinking fast. And then what they're talking about are people who work in the tech industry, right? So people in Silicon Valley, and people who have been involved in, Meta and Google and some of the really big companies. What's interesting about this? They start with a story of a tech executive actually who's been laid off. She made it through 7 rounds, different times of layoffs, and then she got laid off earlier this year. Her ex-husband, was laid off in 2020 from the tech industry. He could not find another job, and now he's lifting boxes in a warehouse. So this is one of the zinger statements that I saw. By most objective measures, America's tech capitals remain superstar winners of the economy. Only the workers say they don't feel that way. Their ingrained optimism has given way to a feeling that a Hunger Games level scarcity is now the new normal.
And this is not going to get better. This is not going to get better for these people who are trying to work in the tech industry.
It's really interesting because people are, still, the tech industry is still like, come work for us. Although we keep talking about AI as a potential threat. But what's interesting, too, is that the woman that they profiled in the story, she's disillusioned. She's not pessimistic about the technology, but she said, I just don't personally see the point of doing it just to make a couple of people quadruple trillionaires.
Yeah.
Right? What she's saying, what she's feeling is not a lot of job security because the owners of these gigantic corporations want to be trillionaires.
And you would think that there would be, and we talked to, was it Jay Evenson just probably a month ago, that this could open up another sector of jobs. There could be more opportunities, but it seems like a lot of people in the tech industry are thinking just the opposite. That you said, somebody's gone from tech employee to
warehouse stalker.
Right,
yeah. More than 800,000 tech workers have been laid off since 2022. So, and there's a consultant. He does market research in Silicon Valley, and he said there's this whole group of people who've been used to being among the most upwardly mobile, and now they all of a sudden are saying, "I'm on the street." Like, I lost everything.
Right.
Because they feel like, yes, they're like, whether they were coders or designers or, they had a part in creating this technology and they're being replaced by AI.
Yeah, by the monster they helped create. How sad. Again, maybe something's going to fill the gap. We talk about AI constantly on this show. Data centers, AI, jobs, kids, schools, getting access to information that you probably shouldn't, and just the way that it's almost taken over everything. And I'm guilty of it too. I use AI now when I...
Do you?
Well, through my wife. She sort of helps me with it. But we were trying to draft a contract this weekend, and she's like, hey, why are you spending all this time? Yeah. Just go on AI.
So there are benefits, and yet it's a changing... As it changes the job model, right, then people lose their jobs. And we saw that with the automobile industry too, right? When it went to more automation, then factory level workers were losing their jobs. And some of them are saying, well, welcome to our world, to these tech guys who are like, yeah, hey, I was riding the wave, but then it crashed.
Yeah, something will fill the gap, I hope. You don't know. And data centers are, taking the headlines away from us.
I keep seeing headlines that the protests nationwide are growing and growing and growing. People are really unhappy about this. Look, I wanted to remind our listeners too that the Trump administration is targeting state AI laws, and Utah was one of the targets. So, Representative Doug Fiafia, who just won the primary for the Senate, the state Senate, had drafted legislation that would put guardrails on AI, and the White House literally killed his bill. Like, they weighed in enough that they were able to kill it behind the scenes. So this is a relatively new story. This is from Utah News Dispatch, and they're continuing to push back. They have a policy statement that's open for public comment that's only through the end of July, but it would affect how the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, regulates AI companies. So they're saying if you want to weigh in, you can hear, but the proposal specifically mentions a Colorado law that banned, quote, algorithmic discrimination.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have some breaking news here. Governor Cox is about to give a statement on fireworks as it relates to this weekend. We're going to break to that right now.
So the Wasatch Front has not had much moisture at all. We're still as bad or maybe worse than we were on July 4th in some cities. Much better off in others. We have some cities that have received more water than they receive in 2 or 3 months. And so it's safe to have fireworks in those places. So what we will do is that kind of blanket ban will go away. We'll let the mayors and cities determine whether to have bans and where everywhere in their cities, and that will be reduced later, or that will be released later today. What I would say though is it's still dangerous. Fireworks are always dangerous. I would still encourage people, even if you can, doesn't mean you should, be extra cautious. Let's be very thoughtful about it. Be prepared for any scenario if you are going to light fireworks, even if you are in a place that has had an inch and a half of rain over the last week. Still be very prepared, and let's make sure everyone gets home safe on the 24th.
With the flooding and the storms happening, why is it a good time for the community to come together?
Well, look, this is what we do best in Utah. This is the stuff. I always say that the worst of times brings out the best of people. We've already seen it in Beaver. They've been crushed. Those fires. If you know these towns that live that close to a canyon, that's their canyon. Their history, their memories are all tied up in that. And then to have that all burned up, not to mention their cabins, people lost, family heirlooms, and then to have this type of flooding. And yet you see people at their very best. I was on the phone last night with the mayor for almost a half hour, and you could hear people in the background. Too many volunteers showing up. Where are we going to send all the volunteers? What are we going to do with all the stuff that people are bringing by? It's a great problem to have, and it's a problem that we love having here in Utah.
And what's the importance of preserving tradition and history?
We're so disconnected as a society right now. People are feeling adrift. They're feeling lost. We're lonelier than ever before. We're seeing anxiety, depression, self-harm skyrocketing, and we to be rooted. It's like a tree, right? A tree with strong roots. The winds come and they're still there. But if you don't have that rootedness, you don't know who you are or why you are, and it doesn't matter where you are, that wind's going to blow you over. There's so many winds that are blowing people over right now. This is a pretty cool opportunity for us, again, whether it is your heritage or not, to adopt it. Because if you live in Utah, you're a Utahn, and this is part of who we are. We want you to bring the very best of you and add it to the very best of us, the very best that has always been here, and it's a pretty special history, and we want people to have that. I have a friend who posted last night on X about a quilt that his wife made for a quilt show, and it went viral. I had 130,000 views last night. I'm like, a tweet about a quilt went viral. That makes no sense to me whatsoever, unless you realize that people are hungry for nostalgia, for the past, for our history, the things that bind us together as humans. I'll just say we finished the World Cup yesterday. I wish we could start again tomorrow. I wish it would never leave, because it reminded us who we are as Americans, reminded us that the rest of the world isn't maybe as scary or as bad as we think.
So we will have more on the fireworks order that the governor just said he will detail later today, coming up in about 20 minutes. But next on Inside Sources, we're going to have a chat on what Utah is doing right now to keep humans at the center of the growing artificial intelligence industry. Stay with us.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 25% upfront bonus? And are they promising you up to 9% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait, only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They aren't. That's up to $25,000 upfront or up to $9,000 per year on $100,000, guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true. Unlock your Trajan family office at TrajanWealth.com or call 1-855-TRAJAN-1. That's 1-855-TRAJAN-1.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. DBA in most states has Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
There's nothing better than getting outside with the people you love. And in Utah, we have endless ways to stay active and healthy outdoors. But staying healthy also means staying safe. Intermountain Health recommends that you wear the right gear, stay hydrated, protect your skin, and plan ahead before you go. Know your limits and choose activities that keep it safe and fun for everyone. Because when you make health and safety a part of every adventure, you're taking care of what matters most, your life, your health.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your savings? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, it's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Text SECURE to 989898.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
There are many times I thought, I can't do this. I mean, what parent isn't worried about? What am I not doing right? What am I not doing enough? And then I realized, wait, that's being a parent.
Don't worry about being perfect. I've had around 3 other mother figures in my life, but only one of them has taught me how a mother loves.
The greatest reward for me is he makes me better every day.
I would tell a family considering adopting a teenager that teenager, whoever it is, needs you, and they need what you have to offer.
Taylor's given me hope. He's our son, and that is what he will always be.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
911, I'm coming back to what happened.
My son and his wife and their 2 children haven't responded.
Susan Powell disappeared on a snowy morning in 2009.
And I said, Josh, where are you? You need to get home.
And her husband will never be held accountable.
Your wife is missing, Josh.
Yeah, but
And you want to think about it for a couple of days?
I'd had this overwhelming feeling that he had done something to her already.
I'm Dave Cawley, host of the podcast Cold.
Then he starts making phone calls to Susan's phone.
Hello, Susan. We are on our way back.
It's the deepest of deep dives into this tragic tale of abuse.
Where was Josh when Susan disappeared?
I don't know.
Of one mother's desperate attempt to escape.
This is me, covering all my bases.
Help prevent it from happening again.
Our focus has and continues to be finding Susan.
Listen and learn by following Cold wherever you get your podcasts.
Inside Sources.
Well, let's go back to artificial intelligence. And when we talk about that, we can't forget the human element of the whole thing, at least for right now. As it starts to get smarter and smarter, humans may become necessary to continue to build it up.
That doesn't mean anxiety around AI goes away, though, and that doesn't mean that AI anxiety is bad. In fact, you could say it's pretty human. Haha.
Right. Well, here in Utah, we're on the cutting edge. Our state's trying to make a more proactive approach to AI policy, making sure it protects children while still ensuring Utah stays on the front lines of technological advancements.
So joining us to talk more about this is Jefferson Moss and Margaret Bussey. They're co-chairs of Utah's Pro-Human AI Task Force. Thanks for joining us this morning, guys.
Good to be here.
So, look, you both wrote a piece that was published in the Deseret News over the weekend, and your very opening line is this: ask 10 Utahns what they think about AI, you'll get 11 opinions. So do you want to just start from there and talk to us about AI and your boomers and doomers?
Well, yeah, I think all of us can relate. There's a lot of excitement right now around AI, and there's a lot of anxiety, as you were just saying, Holly and Greg. There's a ton of anxiety, and people are looking around and feeling like, you know what? Is my job going to be taken? Why am I seeing these sexualized and suicidal chatbots? What about this existential risk I'm hearing about? What about data centers that are maybe going to go up? And people are worried about that. And so there really is a lot of anxiety. And yet, Utah is actually one of the biggest users of AI. So we know there's also a lot of excitement in the potential that AI has to improve our lives and make us more efficient and help us do tasks that we don't otherwise like to do. And so that's why Utah's really trying to take this very much of a third way approach, pro-human. We want to make sure we're putting protections in place for AI so that we're not getting the harm, and that we're building out a resilient workforce and all of those kinds of things, while still making sure that we get to reap the opportunities.
So, Jefferson, a lot of us have not heard of this pro-human AI task force. It sounds like a great idea, but tell us where it is right now in terms of its progress, and if it's just sort of in the early stages.
Yeah, so this came out, we did our first event last year. The governor made the announcement of kicking off this pro-human summit. And it was the first opportunity for us as a state to kind of to bring all the right people together, to have these conversations that Margaret was just talking about, to bring different perspectives on what's happening in AI, how the state's leaning in, and what we can do to continue to ensure Utah's both protecting its citizens, but also encouraging the innovation around the opportunities that it can bring. We stood up, Margaret and I as the co-chairs under the governor's direction, earlier this year, stood up this working group, which includes some fantastic individuals, and we put out some press about that, but representing different areas from higher education, from industry, from government operations, a number of different people that really are drilling down, and we've created it into 6 different pillars, and those include academic research and development, industry innovation, learning and education, public protection, state government deployment, and workforce empowerment. And we've had a number of good meetings individually with those groups, and really just trying to get our arms around everything that's happening there, and tying it back to these 2 concepts of AI needs to really be both human guided and also human enhancing. So providing the right protection, the right transparency, but also creating the right tools and opportunities to support our communities of leveraging the benefits of what AI can bring.
Margaret, are you concerned at all that the federal government keeps, I feel like, hamstringing the states by saying we don't want the states to put in these guardrails? What is your approach to working within those constructs?
Yeah, so I think there's been sort of a constant amount of change happening when it comes to people's opinion, and certainly what we're getting from the federal government on how and what to regulate when it comes to AI. And the reason for that is that AI itself and its capabilities are changing so rapidly. And so really what's happening now is the Trump administration has sort of recognized that some of these models, particularly you may have heard of Anthropic's Mythos model, has gotten so powerful that we actually do need to do more to make sure that we have the government's eyes on these models before they're released to the public. And so I think that their stance is evolving and as the technology evolves. And I would like to see that more, because it's the most important technology really of our lifetime. We have to have our eyes on it. And that's why Utah got out ahead when we established our Office of AI Policy, and why we're getting out ahead now with this pro-human AI initiative.
And a lot of, when I think of AI, I think about the concerns that educators have. Jefferson, if you've got educators' input in what we're doing here in terms of what Utah is going to do moving forward?
Yeah, heavily. In fact, this is one of the biggest priorities, I'd say, for the governor, is on the one hand, making sure that kids are not getting exposed to technology too early, making sure they're still getting the fundamentals. How do we get the right literacy, the critical thinking, all the things that are really critical to the student's success. But then also looking through the lens of how can AI support these educators in terms of driving better outcomes. And my wife's a 3rd grade teacher, and she's told me many times how some of the tools they've used have been able to help her be much more efficient in the classroom. She's got another 30 minutes to an hour a day where she can spend time with kids that really need it, or prepping for other things. And so we're seeing that. But yeah, we've had a lot of educators involved. The superintendent, Molly Hart, is actually on our working group and has been really good at bringing that demographic in.
So, Margaret, I want to ask you about state government, and AI has been implemented, right, for at least throughout some parts of state government. What are you seeing results-wise that way?
Yeah, so the state's Division of Technology Services made a whole suite of Google AI products available to state employees and gave them a bunch of guardrails of sort of what you can and can't do, but then really just left it up to state employees to experiment. We in our department, in the Department of Commerce, we've stood up something called the Commerce Innovation Lab, where we're just encouraging our employees to come up with innovative ways to use AI to improve their workflows, make their processes better, and those kinds of things. We've seen tremendous results, which has been really heartening. But more broadly, this is, as you say, Holly, one of the 6 pillars that we're focused on with Pro-Human AI. And what we're looking to do there is making sure that every state employee actually has access to formal training on how to use these tools. How to sort of look at across all the different processes that we have in state government and how we can use AI to make our processes more productive. And really importantly, if and we're going to be deploying AI in our interactions with citizens, what is the right framework that we should use to do that builds trust? And that people can feel that there is safety and privacy when it comes to their information. And Jefferson here, he was actually on the vanguard of this when he was in the legislature and passing a really, really comprehensive data privacy bill when it comes to our government. And now as we think about rolling that out to chatbots and those kinds of things, we want to see that the public will trust that. If there's not trust, it will not work. And that is, I think, the biggest problem with AI more broadly is people are not trusting it. And there's good reason for that. So we have to do it in a way that people feel trusted, that their data is safe and private.
All right. That was Jefferson Moss and Margaret Bussey, co-chairs of the Utah Pro-Human AI Task Force, joining us this morning. Very helpful information. And I wish we had a little more time with them because we hadn't gotten to the workforce services part of it. They had
I'm sure they would like to come back, but yeah. I think their stuff is so fascinating.
Yeah, I think we need to follow up with them again. Well, hey, we're counting down the days to Pioneer Day, and after the break, what about fireworks? Are they good to go, or are we going to have the same limits we had on the 4th of July? What the governor said to us about that this morning. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Cameron Elliott. KSL's top local story this afternoon. Top national story from ABC News. The Pentagon has identified 2 U.S. service members killed in the Middle East. The Defense Department says Private Isabella Gonzalez and First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan died in an Iranian strike in Jordan. Here's ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers with more.
This memo of understanding, which both sides have now declared dead, was aimed at getting the strait reopened. That was the focus there, to try to bring down oil prices, bring down gas prices. But there are concerns about the security in the area. The U.S. blockade is back in effect of Iranian ports. And right now, traffic in the strait has, of course, very much slowed down.
Another service member also died during a controlled detonation of an Iranian drone in Iraq. In local news, family and friends in Mona are mourning the loss of nearly an entire family who died in a flash flood event in southern Utah. Katrina Long co-founded Summit Medical Spa, and her husband Spencer was a fire captain in Provo. Friends say they admired the Longs' ability to blend their families together. Family friend Megan Dexter says Spencer loved Katrina's oldest children, who came from a separate marriage, and they enjoyed going on adventures together.
They loved to be out in the mountains, out in the canyons, so knowing that all of this happened in a canyon just kind of breaks my heart a little bit.
Wayne County Search and Rescue says the family had been on a hiking and rappelling trip at Sunglow Camp Friday night when the flood hit, killing the couple and their 3 sons. Katrina's oldest, Lydia, had been working as a nurse in Kentucky and is the only surviving family member. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow Jones is down 124 points. That's 0.25%. The S&P 500 is up 21 points. That's under 0.3%. And the NASDAQ is up 157 points. That is 0.5%. Coming up, back in the hundreds today, KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:02.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from big wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Right now, JCW's has 15 bus and billboards depicting our delicious, mouthwatering hamburgers across I-15. We've also just learned that I-15 averages 15 fender benders a day. Probably a coincidence, but just in case, keep your eyes on the road. Here's what our burgers sound like. Now, with your hands at 10 and 2, safely turn into one of our 5 locations in American Fork, Lehigh, Provo, South Jordan, and Harriman. JCW's. Quality and a lot of it.
Buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially when your real estate agent recommends a lender you've never heard of. That's okay, but this is your mortgage. Before you lock anything in, get a second opinion. Loans by Rick has closed over 1,000 loans, often finding lower rates and closing costs. A quick second look could save you money. Call 801-809-SAVE. That's 801-809-SAVE. Or go to loansbyrick.com. Rick Urchabom, NMLS 241179, and Vintage Lending, NMLS 287106, Equal Opportunity Lenders. Buying a home? Before you choose your realtor's preferred lender, a bank, or a credit union, get a second opinion from Loans by Rick. With over 25 years of mortgage lending experience and access to more than 80 wholesale lenders, we can shop multiple loan programs to help find the financing that best fits your needs. Experience and finding ways to save you money? That's what we do. Call Loans by Rick today at 801-809-7283. That's 801-809-7283. Rick Urchabom, NMLS 241179, and Vintage Lending, NMLS 287106, Equal Opportunity Lenders.
I'm really interested to hear about how your parents talk to you at home, and how do you think they can kind of break through to you?
It's just to talk about it. It's just seriously it's going to be awkward at first, but if you keep repeating it over and over again, it's just going to feel natural.
Keep going, and soon we'll just be able to talk about it.
Talking about mental health with your teens is the power of we in action. Visit intermountainhealth.org/teen mental health.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Here's McKenna Rodriguez.
The crash in Parley's Canyon on the ramp moving from westbound I-80 to I-215 has cleared, which means delays are clearing up there too. And there's a new crash on southbound I-15 just after 4500 South. The vehicles are pulled over on the right shoulder and currently not causing any delays. Attention property managers, customers see your parking lot first. If it's cracked, they're already walking away. Call GoPave Utah. Seal coating, crack sealing, striping, patching across the Wasatch Front at gopaveutah.com. McKenna Rodriguez in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today, the high will be as high as 101 degrees before it dives to 92 by Wednesday with a chance of thunderstorms. It'll be mid to high 90s for the rest of the week. Right now, though, it's 93 degrees and partly cloudy. I'm Cameron Elliott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
And they're off. The annual
sound of cowbells.
Cattle Drive in Salt Lake City just wrapped up a short time ago. It's the official kickoff for the Days of 47 Festival, which of course honors Pioneer Day.
Yeah, and it's a huge day in Utah. But the question I think a lot of us are wondering is whether or not we will be allowed to light off fireworks for the 24th, like we could not for the 4th.
That's right. So just a short time ago, we broke the news here on KSL that the governor will sign a kind of hybrid fireworks policy later today. In his remarks at the Cattle Drive, the governor said there will be differing kinds of restrictions depending on the area. That would be a change from the Independence Day fireworks ban.
I have to say he looks a little different with the cowboy hat.
The cowboy hat?
The governor, but he still looks sharp.
He knows how to ride a horse. He does.
We'll be announcing later today that there will be a hybrid kind of moving into place. What's happened is I said in our last press conference on fireworks that we should pray for the monsoons to come because we desperately need them. The monsoons have mostly come in many parts of the state, but not everywhere. So the Wasatch Front has not had much moisture at all. We're still as bad or maybe worse than we were on July 4th in some cities. Much better off in others. We have some cities that have received more water than they receive in 2 or 3 months. And so it's safe to have fireworks in those places. So what we will do is that kind of blanket ban will go away. We'll let the mayors and cities determine whether to have bans and where in their cities. And that will be reduced later, or that will be released later today. What I would say though is it's still dangerous. Fireworks are always dangerous. I would still encourage people, even if you can, doesn't mean you should, be extra cautious. Let's be very thoughtful about it. Be prepared for any scenario if you are going to light fireworks, even if you are in a place that has had 1.5 inches of rain over the last week. Still be very prepared, and let's make sure everyone gets home safe on the 24th.
Hey, so we want to know what you think. Should the governor ban fireworks again? Text us at 57500. We had no shortage of opinions on this over the 4th of July. Wondering how people thought that went and what we should do for the 24th.
It'll be interesting, right? And I did appreciate that most people kind of stuck to the ban over the 4th of July weekend. We did have a couple of fires that started for people lighting them off in areas they shouldn't have been. But overall, I mean, I thought the state did pretty well. Speaking of fires, we're still leading the nation in the largest fire. That's the Babylon fire. It's over 107,000 acres now.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what the local fire watch was. You said they actually had a fire or two started since we started the show.
Since we started the show, they went from 564 fires to 566. This is wildfire season in Utah, burning 378,363 acres. And 343 that they know of are human-caused.
Yeah, so I don't know. We had record high temperatures. The monsoonal moisture has been good for fireworks, bad for a lot of other things because it caused these terrible floods and flooding. And so I don't know. You have to take the good with the bad, but I don't know. I hope we don't have. I shouldn't say. Whatever they do with fireworks is what the cities, I hope cities make.
Well,
the right
up in your neck of the woods, I don't think you guys do them because you're so close to mountains. Forests, right?
Even the east side of of Ogden itself, they ban them east of Harrison Boulevard.
So I also saw an article today about the nation reaching the highest level of wildfire activity. So the nation's at preparedness level 5, which means that it's the highest level of wildfire activity and national resource commitment. So Utah Fire Info, which is where I look for the local stuff, said nationally, so far this year, across the country, 40,357 wildfires have burned over 3.8 million acres.
You know, and last week we were talking about the wildfires in Canada and how they're sort of encroaching on some of our northern cities here in America, and it's become a little bit more of a problem, and now there's a little bit of a blame game going on. Even the president's weighed in on, hey, Canada, put out your fires.
Well, yeah, he says he's going to raise tariffs on them again because of the fires in Canada. But I'll also point out that there are some really just apocalyptic wildfires in Europe as well. So look, we do have some texters. Yes, they should be banned. It's too hot and dry, and it's a pollution thing.
Yep.
And then another texter says, I wish they would ban aerials again, but I don't think the firework companies are going to want that. I agree there.
Well, I mean, people wait all year for that. I mean, these companies, it's a huge part of their income.
And then one in all caps, ban them, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. And then they say they're so fun, but they'll still be here later. No need to do them now. And a fourth texter says governor should ban fireworks on the 24th.
It was kind of unanimous.
Yeah,
so
far.
People are concerned about it.
So far.
The fire season, the fire problem is exacerbating this, and that's why people are just like, hey, wait a minute.
Well,
the heat, the fire,
yeah,
and then people get hurt.
So you also have to consider, what did the pioneers do when they got here in 47? They did not light the state on fire. They started digging and planting, right? I mean, they started celebrating the days of 47. I think it took 2 years maybe. Started in 49. I could be wrong on my dates, but very close after they came into the valley. And that's one of the things that I think with basically the history of the state of Utah, right? So when I've had kids ask me, when did the pioneers get here? I'm like, well, what are we celebrating? Days of 47.
Yeah.
It wasn't 1947.
Right.
Right, it was 1847 on the 24th of July when Brigham Young saw the valley and said, this is the right place, drive on. And I just have to say, again, it must have been so uninviting. Hot, dry, and basically no vegetation to speak of, right? Because you just had you would have a little bit of green along some freshwater tributaries. Otherwise, I think what happened here was pretty remarkable. And of course, we were not the first people here. We had native people living here for hundreds, if not thousands of years before white people came on.
Yeah, and we talked about the cattle drive. Of course, the Days of 47 rodeo starts tomorrow. I think it has a run of about 4 or 5 days, runs through the 25th at the Days of 47 Arena. That's one of the biggest rodeos in the country. I think that our parade, the Days of 47 parade, is one of the largest parades in the country. Certainly the largest parade this weekend in the country. But so much going on in Utah. It's going to be a fun weekend.
Look, we have a couple more texters, and one says, do fireworks in the winter to celebrate Thanksgiving and the holidays. And another one, same idea, exchange the 4th and 24th of July for the 4th and 24th of December. Right? That would kind of be fun. Yeah. And one says, keep them at stadiums only, but make it free. All right?
There you go.
There we go. So, look, that's our listeners weighing in, and we're not going to be doing fireworks this weekend, but we are going to have fun.
But if you do, just be careful. Just
be careful
with anything you do.
Don't light the state on fire, and don't blow your fingers off.
Yep.
Okay. Well, it's time for another edition of Ask the Attorney. After the break, I wanted to ask Greg about this case out of Utah County that could be maybe the first of its kind in the United States. So a BYU student's boyfriend has been sentenced for manslaughter after his abuse led to the girlfriend's suicide. Much more on that story next.
Jeff Kaplan here, Xfinity Wi-Fi customer. I don't know how bad inflation's going to be in the months and years ahead, but I do know the inflation rate is 0 with the Xfinity Wi-Fi 5-year price lock guarantee. The most intelligent Wi-Fi that even fixes itself when there's a problem. Wi-Fi that hits every corner of your home, powered by fiber, built for speed. All of the benefits of the Xfinity network with 99.999% reliability and a 5-year price lock guarantee. Same price for 5 years, and this is important, no contracts, no commitments. Plus, you can get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. You get everything you need. It's all included. Data, the best equipment, and the most reliable Wi-Fi. Yours within minutes, the price. Locked in for 5 years. Go to Xfinity.com or visit a store today. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Select plans only.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to
to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS4KIDS to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877-CARS4KIDS to donate your car today.
1-877-CARS4KIDS. K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids. 1-877-CARS4KIDS.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Join the conversation. Do you have an idea or topic you think we should talk about more on this show? Let us know. Send us an email to insidesources@ksl.com. That's insidesources@ksl.com. And tell us what you think we should cover. We're always looking for ideas and would love to keep you, our listener, included in that chat.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
This is Colin Keary from the New Millennium Group. Have you ever had a question for your financial advisor only to find out that the next available appointment is months away? At New Millennium Group, we believe that financial advice should never be limited to once-a-year review meetings. Life happens every single day. Markets change, retirement questions come up, family situations evolve, and when they do, you deserve answers. That's why we pride ourselves at the New Millennium Group on being accessible when our clients need us most. Whether you're wondering about your investments or a major life decision, our team is here to help provide guidance. We're not interested in being the firm you hear from once a year. We want to be your trusted resource throughout your entire retirement journey. If you're looking for a financial team that values relationships, communication, and responsiveness, we'd love to meet you. Give us a call today at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or visit us at utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house, whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed. Call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks? Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
911, tell me exactly what happened.
My son and his wife and their 2 children haven't responded.
Susan Powell disappeared on a snowy morning in 2009.
Your wife is missing, Josh.
Yeah, but
and you want to think about it for a couple of days?
The podcast, Cold, has gone deep on these kinds of stories.
I'd had this overwhelming feeling that he had done something to her already.
Clearly, something happened on that couch because he cleaned it.
Find and follow Cold wherever you get your podcasts.
The new Inside Sources.
You know, Holly, this is really a first-of-its-kind case in the United States. A BYU student's boyfriend has now been sentenced to prison for manslaughter after his abuse preceded his girlfriend's suicide.
So, Greg, this article in the Salt Lake Tribune caught my eye this weekend, and I had to ask you about it. So let's do another edition of Ask the Attorney today. So here's my question, Mr. Attorney.
Sure.
Tell us about this, because it wasn't in question that she killed herself. The question was what happened leading up to that. And it just really, again, caught my eye. What makes this so rare?
So it maybe it's not going to be rare in the future, but it's certainly a first of its kind. The state did a very good job, and this is a Utah County case. The case was against Caleb Aiden Reese, R-E-E-S, and he's pled guilty, so it's not one of those he's presumed innocent. He's pled guilty. He was charged with manslaughter and a number of other counts that I'll talk about in just a minute after a series of texts, phone calls, and recorded statements between he and his girlfriend they. If you read these or heard these, Holly, he was so aggressive and so angry at her and so just pushing her and even saying, "There's a gun on the table there. Just use it. Use." And he's saying these things, and she did, and she killed herself. Now he's not even in the room. It's all based on his conversations and his prodding her, and they actually go through a history of abuse. It wasn't just a one-off. This wasn't just he gets angry at her. She was a beautiful young woman. I think she was 19 at the time. He was 25. He had a very possessive relationship with her. It happened in 2021. It was a long time ago. It took a while for it to come to fruition here, but he has now pled guilty to manslaughter. Now, it was a reduction. The state charged him with 10 felonies to start with. He ended up pleading guilty to 4. And another thing is that they were sort of lower felonies. The manslaughter, and he had 1 drug case also, possession of a controlled substance with the intent to distribute. Those were second-degree felonies reduced to third-degree felonies. He pled guilty to 4 third-degree felonies, 0 to 5 years in prison, and the judge sentenced him to 4 consecutive terms of 0 to 5 years in prison.
So he could be there for 20 years.
He could be there for 20 years. He could be there for 20 months, too. I mean, it's an indeterminate term.
Okay. So one of the things that this article points out is that there was audio of the last 12 minutes of this young woman's life, that it was recorded, and that even the judge said, this is horrific, right? The sounds, it just awful. And her parents were in the courtroom there for this sentencing. And I guess another question I have is, why is this maybe the first in the nation? Because this makes sense to me.
I was thinking just the opposite. And I know that what he did is monstrous, but is that really a homicide? And
manslaughter.
Right.
A death caused at the hand of another person.
Right. But did he recklessly cause her death by these statements and this prodding and this abuse? I mean, we don't know what a jury would have done. I was, it's the first of its kind because he pled guilty. I mean, I thought, man, if I had been his attorney, I don't know if I would have let that occur. Although I will say this, he was facing 10 felonies, and there were several drug charges and gun charges, because when the police came to respond to the scene, they found numerous guns. It looks like probably 7 or 8.
Oh, wow.
They found a lot of drugs, including meth, mushrooms, marijuana. There was a 4th drug found, but there was quite a bit there. And so he had some serious counts that would have been problematic for him anyway. But he pled guilty to the manslaughter, although manslaughter, as you know, carries 1 to 15 years in prison. He pled guilty to a lesser manslaughter, which carries 0 to 5. It's still significant, a lot of time. And then he pled to 2 gun charges, possession of a firearm by a restricted person. And his restriction was that he had drugs near the guns, and then a drug charge based on the significant amount of THC and he had meth and other drugs there also.
So one of the other questions that I have, though, is I have seen other instances where people goaded others into killing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
How is this different somehow?
Well, I mean, so it's not different, and maybe it's the way of the future. I mean, this may be the way prosecutions are going to go. They've actually found it's the first of its kind in the nation. There was one in Australia or something where someone had been charged like this. I would say this was a brave move, an aggressive move on the part of the Utah County Attorney's Office that may be the future of what we do with prosecution in terms of these really bad domestic violence situations where it gets so bad that the one party actually encourages, almost aids and abets the other person to kill themselves. And suicide's a crime. I mean, you can't, and encouraging suicide may be a crime also, maybe a manslaughter.
Well, and that's like I have seen like cyberbullying. So it wasn't domestic violence, but I know that I've seen different cases in the nation where people were cyberbullying people to the point of them taking their own life. So I guess,
and I would think that those kind of things are going to be looked at more closely now, and because of this.
Yeah.
But what you've got to have is the connection between the bullying and the actual taking of the life. That is to say, were there other things going on in her life? Did she have other issues, or was the bullying? In this case, the domestic violence, verbal and written domestic violence, was that what put her over the edge? And the state decided yes, and he pled guilty to that. So I think it's really an innovative prosecution. I'm not against it. I think it's great if we can start doing things like this. But I think the proof of this would have been very difficult.
So here's one of the things that's disturbing to me in this article. It said that she had called in and reported domestic violence before. He'd threatened to kill her. He'd assaulted her. He'd held a gun to her face, the police report said, as well as forcing her into intimate relations. And when they did the domestic violence risk assessment, she was high risk. And then the officer said, well, normally I'd put you in touch with the victim advocate, but one wasn't available, so contact one if you need one.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Because
she needed some resources. She was just a kid. I don't know how she met this fellow or what the situation was there. I mean, he's not significantly older than her, but 25 and 19. And the relationship seems to have been very possessive, very abusive right from the start. It had a long history of it, and she just didn't get out of it and couldn't get out of it. I don't blame her at all, but the resources should have been made available to her, and she should have been able to take advantage of those to get out of that situation. I do think this is innovative. I think it was a great move on the county attorney's part. I personally don't know that a jury would have convicted him of manslaughter, although the cajoling and that 12-minute tape, I guess her parents listened to it, and it was just awful because you knew how it ended.
Yeah.
Everybody knew when it stopped at the end what will happen next.
So thanks for answering my questions, Mr. Attorney. The parents also sued the Orem Police Department in 2023, alleging that officers failed to intervene when they knew that their daughter was at risk. But the lawsuit was dismissed with the judge ruling that the officers had governmental immunity to the claims. So they went forward and hired a private investigator who found some of these recordings, including that 12-minute one of the end of her life.
Yeah.
So I think good for the parents, too, for saying, I'm not letting go of this. It doesn't bring their daughter back, but good for the parents.
And I think that the family of Gabby Petito brought a lawsuit against the Moab police for similar conduct. I don't know what ended up happening with that lawsuit, and it maybe not necessarily relevant, but it's not uncommon that people do say, okay, police, you had an opportunity to do something here and you didn't. Well, let's shift to something a little bit lighter. When we come back after the break, Utah's capital city, right here in Salt Lake, is looking to rebrand itself to the tourism market. We'll tell you what they're going for, and we want you to tell us what they should do. What nickname should they use to promote Salt Lake City? Text us at 57500.
It's 11:29 at KSL News Radio. I'm Cameron Elliott. KSL's top local story this hour: fireworks won't be banned for the weekend of the 24th, but Governor Spencer Cox will be laying out some hybrid restrictions.
What we will do is that kind of blanket ban will go away. We'll let the mayors and cities determine whether to have bans and where in their cities.
Cox says the Wasatch Front is still very dry and hasn't seen a lot of rain, while other places have had more water than they usually get in 2 months. So it would be safer to use fireworks in some areas than others. But no matter where you may be celebrating Pioneer Day, the governor says Utahns have to be extremely careful this year. In other local news, cleanup efforts are underway in Beaver this morning after rain falling on the Cottonwood fire burn scar caused catastrophic flooding from the mountainside to well past I-15. City leaders say several homes and properties have been flooded, and Beaver County Emergency Manager Les Whitney tells KSL people still need to be ready to evacuate with more rain in the forecast over the next several days.
We want the residents to know that we will do whatever we have to make it good for them, make it safe for them, and also just trust us. If we say leave, it's time to leave.
The city says they're also working to get people clean tap water after the flooding compromised the city's culinary water supply. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow Jones is down 221 points. That's 0.4%. The S&P 500 is up 9 points. That's just over a fraction of 1%. And oil is up 2 cents. That is 0.02%. Coming up, on the heat. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Right now, UCCU is offering short-term savings options with incredibly high yields. Simply make a deposit, then watch your savings grow with a fixed rate of return that's much higher than a savings account. UCCU also has great offers on jump-up options. So if rates continue to rise, you can jump up your rate and earn even more. Visit uccu.com to learn more and supercharge your savings today. UCCU. Love where you bank.
I'm Walker Kessler, and I play basketball for a living. So I know how important it is to have the support of a team you can trust. That's why I love UCCU. UCCU is more than a credit union. They're a true financial partner, a local team of experts your entire family can trust at every step of your financial journey. Just visit uccu.com and elevate your banking experience.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Doug.
Hot dog! Get your hot dog!
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Hey, what are you doing?
I like your method. Direct. To the point. A little loud, but...
Listen, people don't buy car insurance the same way they do hot dogs.
Not yet, but both are customizable.
Popcorn! Get your popcorn!
Hey, this is a hot dog area.
And customize and save area. Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
She trusted a shop with her late husband's dream.
They agreed to give me regular updates of how things were progressing.
6 years and more than $16,000 later,
they stopped returning my calls.
So how far can a mechanic kick a can down the road? Is that a reasonable time frame?
Not really. Not on a normal job.
What every Utah driver should know before leaving a car at the shop. Stalled car repair. Tonight on KSL 5 News at 10.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Learn how to save more this summer at uccu.com. Here's McKenna Rodriguez.
A semi is sitting on the shoulder on northbound I-15 in between the main flow and the end of the on-ramp from 106 South. It did cause some delays, but now that it's out of traffic, there's no more slowdowns. And we have a disabled vehicle on southbound I-15 at Main Street in Lehigh. It's out of traffic and on the right shoulder, not causing any congestion. McKenna Rodriguez in the KSL Traffic Center.
Got a small chance of rain throughout this week with temperatures sitting in the mid to high 90s with a chance of thunderstorms tomorrow and Wednesday. Right now, though, it's 93 degrees and sunny downtown. I'm Cameron Elliott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
All right, is it time for Utah's capital city to get a new nickname or some new branding to better promote the area? Visit Salt Lake thinks so they're launching a new campaign labeling Salt Lake City as America's Mountain City.
Oh, you could do better than that. I mean, you look at Denver, the Mile High City. What is it? Chicago's the Windy City. New York, the city that doesn't sleep. Vegas is the city of
Sin
lights.
City. Come on, it's Sin City.
Okay,
Oh, maybe it is
there are
the
a lot
city
of
lights.
there are a lot of cute nicknames. I don't know, America's Mountain City.
All right,
I
so
guess it's okay.
do all y'all think that's a good nickname? What other nicknames do you think the city should have instead? So you can text us 57500 or head to our KSL News Radio Facebook page and chime in there. And I will tell you, there are a couple. But I'm
You
going to
can't read them all, can you?
No, I can't. I can't read them all, actually. But I'm going to ask you, what nickname do you think we need to give Salt Lake City?
Well, I'll tell you the nickname my friends and I call Salt Lake City.
Yeah, what's that?
Small Lake City, because it's I'm not that I would use that, but it's a, it's a small town. We all keep running into each other.
Well, yeah.
So it's like, hey,
Interesting.
things come back around. You always, we call it Small Lake City, but I wouldn't use that.
I was thinking of Dirty Soda City or Fancy Cookie City. I don't know. Or
America's Mountain
Green
City.
Jello. Okay, look, we do have a texter that says the Donut Hole, which I'm not sure I get that one.
Maybe the Valley or something. I don't know.
Oh, for redistricting, of course. Our producer Andy
yeah,
Cup
there
had
you
to
go.
tell me,
It
of
is.
course, the Donut Hole. Okay, got it. We have a texter that says Salt Lake City just needs to lighten up on the alcohol laws and create some sort of nightlife. They don't need a nickname, and then a lot more people would come here.
Well, it's certainly never going to be called Booze Town or alcohol. You know what I mean? We're never going to get there.
No. Look, we've got a few on the Facebook post, some that I can read. One says Inversion City. Another one, Bert says Crossroads of the West, which we actually use, and now we're calling it, it's, I guess, the whole state, Crossroads of the World. Liberal Lake. So is Salt Lake City liberal, Mr. Democrat?
Well, it's the liberal. That's the same as the donut hole, I guess.
I guess liberal-ish.
We got a few Democrats in Salt Lake.
So we've got another one referencing the inversion, but Alex says call it Smog Lake City.
No.
One person, Robbie says call it the SLC. I mean, it sounds like you could do some kind of rap and beat to that. I don't know. I can't do that.
Yeah, well, Atlanta is, they call it the ATL. So I can understand that.
Yeah.
Maybe that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other cities. There are a lot of cities have nicknames.
Yeah. Yeah. One says, how about Slick City, like SLC, Slick, right?
Yeah.
And one says Mountain Land America. Okay. Fair.
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
America's Mountain City. I don't know. Do you think of Salt Lake as a mountain city? I mean, it's surrounded by mountains. It's.
I guess because I've lived here for so long, I do take them for granted. But definitely, I mean, there's definitely a.
I mean, if you're promoting our ski and our tourism and the mountains and the beautiful things that surround this Salt Lake Valley, the Mountain City makes sense. I mean, if that's what they're using, that's.
Well, I think they want to get specific, right, for the city and not just the entire state. So. We have Andy joining us right now because he's got a hot take. What's your hot take, Andy?
Greg, I wrote you a line, and you didn't take it. You didn't read the line I wrote for you, so I have to come in here and explain. One of the things that I find so interesting as a transplant to Utah is when people around the world think of Denver, they think of mountains. And anyone who's ever been to Denver sees that they are so far away from the mountains. And so, yeah, Salt Lake City is not like on a mountaintop, high on the mountaintop, but it's right here. And so I actually like the Mountain America, or America's City, America's Mountain City.
But I did say it's the Mile High City.
Oh, but remember I said take that, Denver.
So take that,
Take
Denver.
that, Denver.
Oh, you
Because
did.
sure, it's the Mile High City, but it's so
It's because it's a plateau.
plainy
Yeah, right.
and
The mountains
plain.
are below it. Yeah.
You're so funny.
So anyway, Salt Lake City, I think it's fitting because it is in the mountains.
Is that your hot take? Would you keep that?
Personally, though, I still do love Crossroads of the West.
Okay.
And I mean, Crossroads of the World, sure, but I don't know that anybody outside of Utah would really understand that anymore.
Well, we had the Golden Spike, right? That's where you get the Crossroads. of the
Yeah,
West.
and so people who are from here or have lived here a long time are like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. But everyone else, they'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Huh? Anyway,
So
my
we-
two takes.
We have a texter that says, because we're famous for the Great Salt Lake, maybe we could call it Salt Lake City.
There you go. The Great Salt Lake City. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, Salty City, the Snowy Desert City. How about Dry Lake City? Dry for alcohol and dry for the lake.
Yeah.
One says call it the Valley, and Lori says call it This Is the Place.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad.
That would be, I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know how catchy that is.
Yeah, I don't know either. Because you have to have the sort of
well,
the city
you could do a whole,
somewhere.
you could do a whole campaign. Of course, we've done that. A whole campaign off of This Is the Place.
But what's curious to me is it looks like it's already been named. They're launching the campaign.
Yeah.
So what's
We're just
this Salt
asking
Lake
for input. They're not
Visitors
listening to
Bureau,
us.
America's Mountain City. I don't know that that's going to catch. I just don't. I don't see it. It is. I think we can do better. But
So-
if that's the one we have, it's. I give it a solid B plus.
One of the things that they're saying with America's Mountain City, this is Visit Salt Lake, right? So their job is to promote the city. But part of this campaign that they want to highlight is that there is a booming culinary scene in Salt Lake City. So I think that's interesting. You've had a lot of experience sampling, I guess, the culinary offerings.
Yeah.
So there's Cosmica was named by the New York Times as one of the 50 best restaurants in the United States last year, and a growing number of chefs and restaurants have been nominated for James Beard's Awards in Salt Lake City.
Okay, but I was thinking you were coming to a name like the culinary.
Well, I don't know. But it's just that's part of the branding campaign. So
Yeah.
it's not only do you have the mountains, but you have a growing culinary scene, which you could certainly do something like that, right? Tourism in Salt Lake City generated $4.2 billion in visitor spending, supporting 30,000 jobs in 2024. So definitely there's stuff there. So they also reference the Crossroads of the West. It dates back to the railroad era in the 1800s. So they tried to do...
I think of that is the sort of the Brigham, the Box Elder County area.
Yeah, yeah.
Crossroads of the West reminds me of the gun show every year too, which is a great show, but you don't think of that as the name of the city.
So they tried a previous brand push in 2021. I don't even remember this. The motto was, quote, West of Conventional, which highlighted both the past and the mountain theme. So West of Conventional focused on Salt Lake City being a city of juxtapositions.
But that's not really a West of Conventional. That's sort of a, I don't know, not really. I'm thinking about, when people are like, hey, let's go to the Mile High City. Let's go to Beantown. Let's go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not going to, let's go to
West of Conventional.
West of Conventional. America's Mountain City, you would think, okay, that's Salt Lake.
Yeah. We have a few more. We have one said the Grid City, since we're designed on a grid.
Yeah.
We have a texter who says the Friendly City. Charlene says tops of the mountains or mountaintop. And Ben says our logo should be Salt Lake City, all salt, no pepper. I don't even know if I get that, except for unless you're referencing the racial makeup of our state.
Salty. It's a salty city, yeah.
Or it's salty. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Okay, that's probably what he means. So anyway, they did not ask us for our opinion.
No.
And they've already launched the campaign. But
and my guess is it'll probably catch America's Mountain City.
I don't know.
We're going to see that in the books in the future when people are saying, hey, America's Mountain City is hosting the Olympics this year.
Yeah, we are hosting the Olympics. So that feels like it's coming right up, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was a lot of fun. And when we come back for our final segment on Inside Sources, this is a fun, speaking of culinary, one Utahn is taking her top-ranked mac and cheese to the national stage. But that stage just so happens to be in her backyard down in southern Utah. More on Hay Grill Hay and the Pitmasters competition coming up next.
Let's face it, it's time to give your finances a serious glow up. Hi, I'm Susan Spears, a certified public accountant and host of the all-new podcast, Talk to Your CPA. Think of this as your ultimate money guide, packed with actionable tips for every stage of life. Starting a family, college, a business, retirement. We'll cover it all and call on a deep bench of money experts to share their best strategies. And when I switch into CPA mode, we'll cut through the jargon to uncover hidden tax breaks or financial nuggets that might work for you, like special deductions for tax earners, tax wins at age 65, and benefits when you buy a new car, or just how to stretch your dollar. The first episode drops soon, so subscribe to Talk to Your CPA on your favorite podcast platform today. Because true financial freedom isn't about ditching your daily latte. It's about uncovering hidden hacks to launch a financial glow-up that keeps on glowing.
Talk to Your CPA is proudly powered by the Utah Association of CPAs.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
You know, I used to think all money managers were the same until I spoke with Fisher Investments.
Really? How different are they?
Fisher's investment counselors are dedicated to service, not sales, keeping clients up to date on their portfolio.
Well, they probably just invest in a bunch of mutual funds like I do.
Nope. They build a tailored portfolio based on their clients' personal goals, helping them stay on track for a comfortable retirement.
Well, they must make commissions selling products.
Actually, Fisher doesn't sell any commission-based products. They're a fiduciary, and they believe that's a conflict.
Then they have some kind of complex fee structure.
Nope. Fisher has a simple, transparent fee that's a percentage of their client's portfolio. So they do better when their clients do better.
It sounds like Fisher really is different.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Fisher Investments. Clearly different wealth management. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com/different. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Thursday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes a new inventory every day. Then they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. You're invited to visit the movie show Thursday from 10 to 1, and that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Opened in 2021, Roots Coffee & Co. has lived by its motto, people first, coffee second, creating an experience centered on meaningful connections, exceptional customer service, and great coffee. Owner Kenzie Packard joins us with more.
Building a business has taught us that success has very little to do with what you're selling and everything to do with how you make people feel. Since opening 5 years ago, we've grown to 3 locations and recently expanded into wholesale, but that growth isn't what we are most proud of. What we are most proud of is the community that we've built. We've always believed that if you are fortunate enough to grow, you should put the ladder back down and help someone else climb it. That's why we love partnering with local businesses, cheering on other entrepreneurs, and creating genuine relationships. We truly believe there's enough room for all of us to succeed. Coffee has never been the end goal. It's simply what brings people through our doors, but what really matters is that people leave feeling seen, remembered, encouraged, or like they belong. If we've done that, then we've done exactly what we set out to do.
Roots Coffee & Co. has built a welcoming space where every cup of coffee and conversation helps bring the community together. To learn more, visit rootscoffeeutah.com. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a gripping new 9-part investigative podcast about a serial killer you've probably never heard of, Warren Forrest, a sadistic predator who prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He hid behind the deeds of Ted Bundy, and he's only been convicted of 2 murders, but is suspected of many more. Since the release of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a witness identified in the podcast could lead investigators to the remains of Jamie Grissom.
He ran into the woods. He said he stumbled. As he fell down, he looks up and sees the body of a young woman.
And now the FBI is testing forensic evidence that had been collecting dust for decades. This cold case is now red hot. Binge the entire season of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley right now, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the latest breaking news.
Inside Sources.
So if you think you make a pretty good macaroni and cheese, one Utah woman thinks she does, and now she's actually competing in a national TV competition. What about you, Holly?
I don't know. I mean, I've made homemade mac and cheese that's pretty good, but I would never enter it into a competition.
Yeah.
So this is just a fun story, and I think mac and cheese, I would call that kind of, a Utah food, at least a comfort food, at least at our house. So Susie Bullock, there's a new Food Network competition. She lives down in southern Utah, and Pitmasters is typically, I think of it of like barbecue and the, smokers and stuff. But they went to southern Utah for their show for a week-long live fire cooking battle. And during the premiere episode, her team was one of the few to have grill temperature issues. So they had a 10-hour challenge in a remote area of elevation over 5,000 feet, if you can believe it.
Well, do you think that I kind of like mac and cheese maybe as the new nickname for Salt Lake City?
Right. Yeah, that could work. But
you don't think so?
I don't really think that'll catch on. But anyway, they did candied pork belly. They did this mac and cheese, which is one of her specialties. And so she says, I don't do a ton of high-end chefy foods. It's stuff that is what I grew up eating, what I love to serve my family. But because it's a smoker, right? She did a smoked mac and cheese recipe, highly ranked online. And she says, if you Google smoked mac and cheese, my recipe is at the top of the internet. So she made smoked poblano shells and white cheddar mac and cheese.
Actually, sounds really pretty good.
Yeah, it really does. Mine is just like generic.
So we don't have mac and cheese because we haven't found a good
gluten-free noodle.
Mac.
Oh, sometimes they're so mushy, they're just really not very fun.
Yeah, we're not going to win any competitions.
That's okay. That's okay. I have another fun story too, and this one's about Josh Kerr. So he is they call him British, and Scotland is claiming him as their own. He ran in a race over the weekend and broke the long-standing men's mile record at the Diamond League meeting in London. So remember when we broke the 4-minute mile? Yeah. That record held for a long time, and then got slightly faster.
Right.
And then this record that he just broke had been in place for 27 years. He ran a 3-minute 42.66 second mile.
Okay, before we get to that, the previous record had been in place for
27 years.
Oh, man, I would have thought we would have done better than that.
So 4-minute mile was broken a little bit ago. I think it was in the 1950s, actually.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
So, yeah, but the previous one had held for 27 years, and he broke it. And not only did he break it, he crushed it by almost a half a second, which with this quick of a time, he was running a 16.2 miles per hour, right?
Yeah, because you think of a quarter mile, the 400, as taking about a minute for really good athletes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the 4-minute
really
mile,
good, yeah.
Right? And he's doing it in like 50 seconds.
Less than that.
Yeah, I mean, just like flying.
So I thought that was a really fun story. So we also need to maybe do a shout out to Spain for winning the World Cup.
Yeah,
they defeated Argentina, and if I understand correctly, they had to even go into overtime if they have overtime in soccer. But I know they won 1-0.
Right?
Yep,
yeah,
1-0. Okay, so on this day, I have a fun fact about today, and this one actually, I think it just ties in so touchingly to our really sad news story about the 5 family members who passed away this weekend. Today is Global Hug Your Kid Day, and I think that sometimes we downplay the importance of physical touch, especially between parents and kids. And as kids get older, sometimes they kind of push it off. But I think it's a good time to remember that we need physical touch and connection, and to, hug your kids.
I wish I had a kid in town to hug.
I know. All right. I do have some fun facts. So it was on this day in 356 AD that Alexander the Great was born in Macedonia. Okay, Alexander the Great. It was also on this day in 1848 that Elizabeth Cady Stanton read the Declaration of Sentiments at the Seneca Falls Convention. So it started one day earlier, but let me read you the opening line and see if it sounds familiar. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one portion of the family of man to assume among the people of the earth a position different from that which they have hitherto occupied, but one to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes that impel them to such a course. Sound familiar?
Yes.
We hold these truths to be self-evident
Sounds like
that
the
all men and women are
Oh,
created
okay.
equal.
There we go.
That
Okay.
they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights: life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. And then she keeps adding in there stuff about women. Let facts be submitted to a candid world. This is directly about men. He has never permitted her to exercise her inalienable right to the elective franchise. He has compelled her to submit to laws in the formation of which she had no voice. She had a long list.
Good for her. The Declaration of Sentiments. I've never even heard of that. 1848.
Now
Good
you
for
learned
her.
something
Yep.
new. It was on this day in 1944 that U.S. President FDR was nominated to an unprecedented fourth term at the Democratic Convention. And thank you, FDR. It's why we now have a constitutional amendment that says presidents will
Can't
only
do
serve
that.
2 terms.
Right.
And then I'm just going to do one more so that you have time for your closing arguments. But it was on this day in 1969 that Neil Armstrong walked on the moon and said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind."
That was this day in 69.
Yep.
So, wow. And we haven't been, well, we've been back since a few times, but we haven't been back this century.
I understand that they had practiced what he was going to say, that they had scripted it all out, and he kind of said it wrong.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be one small step for a man, but he said one small step for man.
Right.
Anyway, closing arguments. What you got?
You have to mention that on this day in 1973, Bruce Lee died.
Yeah.
Then I'll get to my closing
Okay,
arguments.
Bruce Lee died at age 32, and I do have a fun fact about him.
Yeah.
It's wild.
You got to share it.
He could do 1,500 push-ups in a single continuous session. Unbelievable. He could do 400 push-ups using one hand, 200 on 2 fingers, and he could do 100 push-ups on a single thumb. He died of brain swelling.
At age 32.
At age 32.
What a incredible person he was. Anyway, yeah, I want to go back to this case that we talked about in Utah County, this manslaughter case, and just say this. If we are going to, as a criminal justice system, start looking at bullying and making that, the consequences of that be punished criminally, we're going in a good direction. I mean, I do think that there are consequences to things like that. And when people encourage through the internet or through bullying or through whatever else a person to harm themselves, to harm others, or to do that type of thing, maybe they should be held accountable. And maybe we talk about, ultimately the person, the actor who committed the crime or committed the suicide or did whatever, she did that to herself. But under the pressure that she had undergone, maybe it makes sense to take a look at that. And I'm glad that he pled guilty, and I'm glad he was sent to prison. But I would have preferred that case went to a jury and have a jury sit down and say, does this equate to manslaughter? Because I think that would have been really telling. Again, both sides came to a conclusion. They said, we don't want to risk the 1 to 15. We don't want to risk, if you're the defendant, we don't want to risk losing if you're the state. And so they came to a plea bargain. But man, I think that would have been an interesting case to try. And I would have enjoyed trying that from both sides, either side, as a prosecutor or a defense attorney. So I hope that opens up a little bit more in terms of what our prosecution and law enforcement do when we hold people accountable for some of the things that we see and hear as it relates to bullying and the consequences of that, and abusive relationships, and the mental health part of what happens when people get pushy with one another.